So yeah, a bit of a kerfuffle happening. So today, we are supposed to be playing the Darkest Dungeon tabletop role-playing game, which been in the works now for about a number of weeks, technically a couple of months before my surgery. Actually, that's when we started trying to get people. One of the players has some emergency dental work, which unfortunately means they will not be here today, but that's okay. That's okay. We still have two other players. This is only session 0, so we're going to be talking about the rules of the game. We're going to be talking about, because I mean, this is narrative role-playing game. Nobody knows it. It's got nothing to do with D&D. So it is a tabletop role-playing game. It's an indie game. Very different from Dungeons and Dragons. So if you're used to D&D rules, toss that out the window. It's completely different. Completely different. But we do have Silver. Silver right now is Silver Havoc, a friendo, community friendo. Is going to be a little bit busy because we're waiting. We're waiting for Kanagi. Kanagi messaged me on Discord at like 5 o'clock in the morning when I was sound asleep and letting me know that she wasn't aware what time this was starting, even though I think I bonked everybody on the head with the time because I was pretty much making sure people were aware of what's going on. And said that she needed sleep. So I'm hoping that Kanagi will be awake in the next little bit. So for those interested in playing this on their own time, there is a full outline of rules on my itch page, which I'm bringing up here now to kind of show you. And that is available if you click on About. So if you go down to the thing with my name on it, click on it, click About, you'll see a spot there that talks about projects. This is one of the projects. I'll have all my projects on there eventually, but I want to display all my projects first and then let people click on it and configure things. So this is my itch page, if you want to call it. I don't know. That sounds really weird. I have an itch page, but this is the I guess, yeah. So this is fine. So there's a bit of a thing going on here. So this is a Darkest Dungeon 2 TTRPG hack. So it's got a couple of things here. So as you can see here on my itch page, it does say that you require Torchbearer 2nd edition books to play. Technically speaking, you don't need the Torchbearer 2nd edition. You can use the 1st edition books on this. And the 1st edition books are available for PDF form for pretty cheap. I think they're like $15 or something like that. PDF is, so it's not an expensive PDF to get, right? And it's just an indie game. If you want the physical books for the game, it's $50, right, for the physical books. But I'm pretty sure if you go to Drive-Through RPG, it's $35. That's still a bit high for the PDF. But I think like Torchbearer 1, the 1st edition, is less, and I having an issue finding it, seems like. But as you can see, there's cards involved in the game. Okay, so it's like a bit of a card game too. I don't know. It's a weird game. So here's the live document. So you can always just click the live document. You don't have to actually download stuff. The live document should bring you to the revised page. This is not the document we're using today. The document we're using today is the beta document, which is not a public document, unfortunately. But this is the public document here. I'm going to show you some stuff. If it loads. It's a big document. What can I say? So here's the document. You can get it right from the HIO. You don't have to download anything. There's no paying money, nothing like that. I'm not gonna. There's not even a donate button. You can't donate to me, okay? So don't even try. Not on that, anyways. So then it talks about this. This is the actual stuff, whatever. And here it is. It's 250 pages long, right? It's a big document. So the reason that I said you can use the 1st and 2nd edition books is because most of the stuff is written in here. Most of what you need to play is written in here. The only thing that isn't written in here is the rules and the factors that you need in order to play the game. So the rules of like how the dice system works, which if you played Burning Wheel before, you probably won't need to worry about it because the rules are pretty simple. And the factors are the things that for you to kind of do your skills and that kind of stuff. Yes, Kanagi has been found. I am waiting for a reply to see whether or not they're all good. All good. All good. There we go.
Hey, there I am.
We have the Silver Havoc.
Hello,
Hey, Kanagi.
hello.
How is you?
I'm a little tired.
Yeah,
I've rushed downstairs. I've got everything ready.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. Okay, so we made it. Everybody's here! Woo! Clap, 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 clap. We got this.
About two-thirds
Oh
of
my
us are here.
god.
We're mostly here.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, that's true.
We're here enough.
Yeah, we got enough years. So Demo is not with us because they had some emergency dental stuff that needs to happen. So we're gonna,
Oh.
yeah. So
Oh dear.
yeah. So,
Okay.
so hopefully that's not too terrible. Easy to read, but
I like how the words Darkest Dungeon just keep deteriorating into like Darkest Dungeon, and at a certain point, you're just gonna be able to go, "Da, da, da," and we're gonna know that you mean Darkest Dungeon.
Now we're playing. Like what? So we're gonna talk a bit about the game. I'm sorry, I'm over talking people. I don't mean to. But I will give you guys spotlights, all right? And once you get your spotlight, you can talk all you wish, and we'll get to that. I just gotta do a little bit of a blah blah blah, and then we'll get right into it. So I'm gonna talk a bit about the setting and the game and such, the idea. Then we're gonna talk about lines and veils, which is gonna be part of the housekeeping, and then after that, then we're going to get into character creation. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what lines. Oh well, I guess you can explain it.
I'll be explaining it. Yeah, it's part of the housekeeping. You'll see. It's a protection thing. So we'll get to that. So for those who are not familiar with Darkest Dungeon, Darkest Dungeon is well, I'm gonna just go ahead and read this out as best I can. I have ADHD, so God knows if I'm gonna make mistakes. All right. So it says here, you are a band of grim heroes with a dark past living through the end of times. There was a period in where you thought things were normal, as if the world was once a better place. The inevitable hand of the clock ticked down. You then realized that this life is dreadful, an illusion. What truth there is resides behind the ever-cloudy haze of loathing that covers the world. Time itself is a fleeting concept. It has felt like you have lived through many other lifetimes. It was when you had your first taste of hope that a moment of clarity came to you. This world is broken. So that's the concept of it. Some other things about this. Leaving behind your riches, your loved ones, your life. You know what you must do. Whether you're seeking adventure, redemption, or perhaps death, you will take the flame and hold it firm. The last of the world's hope is in your hands. Everything counts on your return, lest the world itself be swallowed in the ever-spreading stain. Venture forward, hero. The cosmic inevitable horrors wait within the darkest dungeon. So, this is very much a grim fantasy. When we talk about the haze, we're literally talking about an actual haze that when, like, as an example here, the sun no longer shines brightly anymore. When you look up to the sky, the sun gives off a red hue through a fog of haze. It's almost like a dim light. So, and sometimes, you know what? The sun doesn't even bother coming up anymore. It just decides that today is not going to be a day where the sun will shine. And whether you don't know when it's going to be shining, you don't know when it's not going to be shining. It's like the world itself is on a strange and terrible axis where the constellations in the sky are alien and nothing about the world is what you remember it to be. So with that
sounds amazing.
Yes, that's the concept of the game. That's the concept of Darkest Dungeon 2, more so. but 1 and 2, I guess. It is heavily based off H.P. Lovecraft. You're going to see a lot of crisscrossing here with that. The game is also going to be played in phases. So really, for all you need to know is that there's 2 phases: GM phase and players phase. The GM phase is when the GM kind of throws stuff at you, puts you in scenes. So this game is mostly about scenes. It's about you put into a scene with your other players or other NPCs or situation, and how you resolve that scene to go to the next is how the game is played. It's a bit weird that way. And there's a player's phase. The players dictate the direction in which the game goes. So it's like the GM gives up their GM crown for a moment, gives it to the players, and then the players kind of like take the GM role for a little bit, in a limited way. So you're all going to be kind of GMs in your own way as you play.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see how that works when we start playing. It's a bit more natural than understanding right now. So the next thing is housekeeping. So first of all, housekeeping rules is, I guess with regards to session 0. So we had a bit of a snafu at the beginning of session 0, and that's okay. 'Cause you know what? Everybody did. It wasn't just you, Kanagi. Like Silver and Demo, everybody kind of had a bad day. So, you know what? Bad days happen, man. Bad days happen. So nobody's to blame. And I said to people right off the hop, I said, we're going to probably start at 12 o'clock. And you showed up just before 12 for me. So I'm like, heck yeah. So I was like, perfect.
Okay.
So I guess we'll get demo set up. But other than that, I mean, once again, part of the house rule, the housekeeping rules is that if you're planning on streaming, just let me know. I will do, like, for the next sessions, I will do a screen share on the shared chat window, the stream together, and then you can just drop that as one of your scenes and use that on your stream as well. So we're all kind of connected in a way. You can, of course, do whatever changes you want on it, but I just want to offer that. And lastly, this game goes down some real dark paths. This game, the primary focus of this game is mental health. So know that going into this game, that this game is about the depression, it's about gloom, it's about losing hope. It is depressing. This game is depressing. And know that going in, that you may feel things in this game that the game is gonna do to you in a way. But just know it's just a game, and that there are ways to minimize the bad feels. Okay. I know that's a weird way of promoting my game, but it is. It relies on your emotional connections. So, so just know it's a game. Just know that we're not.
Really cool.
Yeah, we're not here to harm you or anything. If you need to step away, take some time. We've had sessions where people actually said to me, I'm glad that we only play this game because at the time we were playing every second week. Because if we were playing this game weekly, I would actually not sure how I would feel. So it can impact you. Okay, so I want to let you know that right now.
Okay.
And if you have a problem with that, that's fine. We're going to go over lines and veils right now to limit these triggering things. Okay. So I'm going to grab a notepad here.
I have mine in front of me.
Yeah, perfect. And we're going to go over lines and veils, and I'll explain what those are. So,
okay.
So there are many ways of doing what's called safety cues in tabletop role-playing games. One of the more famous ones that they do in Dungeons and Dragons is they will have safety cards. And if you're aware of those, a lot of the streamers use them because they're easy, they're simplified. I don't use them, but I will explain why and the differences between why. So in games like, I guess, Critical Role and Dimension 20, that use these safety cards, They'll have cards that will say, and they're in Roll20, by the way. The safety cards are, but like I said, I'll explain the differences that I use them for. There are stop. So stop means stop the current scene. We need to change the scene up because this scene is going in a direction that's making me as a player uncomfortable. Right.
Okay.
There is caution. So basically, I'm okay with what's going on, but can we be more careful on the subject because it's starting to trigger, right? There's something about it. Then there's speed up and slow down. So speed up means I want to fast forward through the scene because I don't find it interesting. Or slow down is I want to have more detail in the scene. So can we slow down and go at a slower pace and go into more detail? So those are the 4 cards generally you'll see in safety decks. There's probably a couple more that you'll see. But those are kind of like the gist of it, right? So they derive from the lines and veils. The differences between lines and veils is that lines and veils are going to set standards for us, and remove some of the not unnecessary usage of some of these cards. So and I'll explain what I mean. So we will still have safety cards available to us, so we can use stop. So stop means that we are going over a line of somebody. So same kind of concept. Stop the scene, change it up. And there will be veils. So in this game, it's all about scenes. So a veil is literally us saying, I'm okay where the direction the thing is going. I'm not comfortable but role playing it out. Can we assume what happens, throw a veil over it, like bring down the curtain, like in a play. And we just assume the activities and we'll go to the next scene. So that's what a veil is. It's literally veiling the scene like in a stage play. Right? And then we're not going to use the slow down and speed up. And the reason is because, for one, this game has a maximum amount of 4 players. So everything is going to be spotlighted, right? We're all going to be getting spotlights on certain players. So if you're able to dictate how other people play their spotlight, it would be very rude to be like, speed up, speed up, speed up. I want my turn, right? So we're not going to be doing that because this game is all about scenes. What we will do, though, is I will try my best to equally distribute the spotlight among all the players, because everybody is important in this game and everybody has a purpose. This is why it's done out this way. So that'd be more of my job to kind of like keep the pace going versus the player's job to tell me and dictate my pace, or other players' paces. Okay, so now we're going to do lines and veils. So lines means just don't even broach the subject. Okay, that means like we're gonna draw a line in this sand right now. We're not gonna cross it. Crossing it would mean like we fucked up somewhere. And this is not a static list, meaning that if something comes up as we play and you're just like, shit, I don't feel okay with this, we can add to the lines. Okay, we can draw the stop, say that's not okay with me, or just draw out the card and just flop it on the table. We will create a line from it. That way we don't pass that line anymore. Because I'm telling you right now, unlike a lot of games, this game is going to go down a lot of dark corridors, and I just want to let you be aware of that now. So, okay. I'm going to start with the first line. So I said sexual assault is a line for me. That will not be something I'm okay with broaching. So we're going to go ahead and put that as a line.
That's a pretty good one. Yeah.
That one I'm not okay with. One of the people that used to be really big on safety tools. This is a story now. Really quick. His name is Cobalt. What's his name? I forget his first name. God, I should know him. But either way, Adam Cobalt. Yeah, that's it. So he used to run a stream called Roll Play, ROLL Play, and he plays narrative games. And yep, he was a guy who was talking about safety cards, safety keys, and stuff. First, and like as he played over the pandemic, he did a sexual assault scene with a sexual assault survivor, and totally breached a line. Got canceled for it for being an idiot. And he was the GM. He had full control over it, and he never apologized. Anyways, so that's so fucked up. So we're making sure that shit doesn't happen here. So any other lines that you may think about that you're not even willing to broach the subject, we're just not going to have it in the game.
I'm not sure anything comes to mind right ahead, but
Okay.
I appreciate that they can be added at any time.
They can be added anytime. Okay.
Because
So-
I'm sure I'll know it when I see it.
Yeah. And just to let you know, like, here's and also anybody out there, just let you know, you can leave, you can mute the stream if something gets too harsh, okay? But I'm gonna let you know what some stuff that came up in the other stuff that was a little bit. So we end up, and I think I mentioned this to you before, but we had a character, a character who had a dark secret, and was about essentially losing their child. After
Yeah.
birth, and we had a player who was literally having a child. Their wife was pregnant and about to have a child, and we were literally
Yeah.
talking about eviscerating the baby out of someone's stomach. So,
Oh dear. Oof.
so as you can tell, that didn't come up until later.
Something I would like to implement for chat, though, is as these sensitive topics come up and we trigger warning for chat,
Yes.
I would like to try and have one of us, either you, Vic, or one of the players, type into chat when a specific topic has ended.
Yes.
So that way, if there is a trigger warning that we don't know who might have been muted by or who might have decided to mute for that topic, when we've moved on from that specific topic, I think it would be great if one of us would try to type into chat, okay, we've moved on now. Feel free to unmute if you muted for that.
I think that's 100%. That's a smart move. So,
Yeah.
yep. I'll do that.
Maybe we could have like a command for like exclamation mark trigger warning or something.
Yep. I'll do that.
Like a list.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to write that down. So add command. I think that's a good idea. So people can tune back in, right?
I just, as someone that has muted streams because of triggering things before, especially with like VTubers just talking, you never really know when the topic has actually changed if you're muted. So I think that as a viewer, that's my preference. If somebody can be like, okay, we've moved on from whatever topic.
No, you're absolutely right. 100%
Yeah.
right. So yeah, so just a fair warning to everybody out there. So we'll definitely be doing that. I'll add one in. I don't think a triggering topic is going to come up today because we're just doing character creation building. But you know, I just to be fair, I just want to make sure that everybody's aware. And if players get comfortable with that, I mean, you can talk to me about it. I'm pretty reasonable, I think. So, you know, off the stream or whatever, it's fine. But yeah, I just want to make sure everybody's okay with that right now. So we'll continue on then. Lines can be added later. So if you can't think of anything now, if there's something that's just like, boy, I don't know if I'm okay with that, we can add it in later. Okay. So the next thing is veils. So in veils, these are scenes that people are generally okay with, but they don't want it to be. I'm sure pinning the CW and CWN chats will be helpful too. Yeah, I think we'll try that. I don't know when things are going to be triggering people, so I know that when topics can come up that seem triggering, we can put it into them. Like as in like, you know, put like an actual command so that we're ending the trigger scene. But I'm not really sure when a triggered scene is going to come up because this game kind of naturally rolls into them, which is kind of a weird thing to say that we're going to casually go into dark spaces, but this game doesn't. It's just, yeah, anyways. But anyway, veils. So veils just mean that people are okay with the scenes, and we'll just drop a veil. So one veil that comes up pretty often, especially for streaming, is sexual explicit scenes or explicit scenes that have of a sexual nature, meaning that if a sexual topic comes up where your characters are engaging in some sort of thing like that, it's it's consensual and all that shit. That the scene can be veiled versus a line. Now, if that's a line for people, they just don't want sexual stuff in their stuff at all. That's absolutely fine. But as for me, I'm okay with it being a veil, but not something to go into details with, obviously, for purposes of TOS. So.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
I would say anything that's within TOS I'm comfortable with, but in general, explicit encounters, obviously consensual. I think I would prefer those to be veiled either way. So I think that
explicit content.
That's a good page to be on.
Yeah, we'll just put explicit content. Now, it could be gory content too, could fall under explicit content, but we'll get to what level of gore is acceptable for people at some point. But it's mostly flesh gore. You know what I'm talking about, like flesh horror stuff, because this is Lovecraft, right? But what were you gonna say?
I think for me, the only things that bother me, are things that are overwhelming, like a lot. So I have anxiety.
Yes.
And it's not all the time that it happens, but if something's like a lot of information, a lot of things are happening, it's very high tension. I do get panicked. Do feel.
Okay, so overwhelming scenes. We'll put it as a veil. Or line.
Yeah. So if I think I'll just let you know if it's like there's just so much going on that I'm having difficulty or something like that.
Okay, and that's fine too. We don't know a lot of these things until they happen, right? And I didn't know this game was going to be what it is until I started playtesting it, and I wanted a game. I literally wanted to make a game that was hand in hand with mental health issues, mental health struggling, mental health recovery. Hopefully, if you're lucky enough to survive. And because it's to me, so, and now I'll put this out there. Like, to me, it's like the characters are at their worst state at the beginning of the game, and as they grow up and as they develop, they overcome their darker self over time, right? But it's that struggle, like, to get there is the problem, right? While also dealing with monsters from beyond or whatever, right? But you know what I mean. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So we'll put that in there. Overwhelming scenes. We don't really know what that means, but we'll figure it as we go. Okay, that's our lines and veils. So I'm gonna save that and save as lines and veils. Put it into my little Darkest Dungeon folder here. Make sure I open that up and probably pin it here. All right, now it's time for character creation. Well, lines and veils, perfect. Okay. Okay, now we're going to get into character creation. So we know, kind of got the idea. If you played Darkest Dungeon before, you got an idea of the game. But I guess the easy way of explaining this game is, so this game is, it has a very base set of rules, as in, like, it's very basic of how to play, but there's a lot of little things that make the game work. So it's kind of like the game originates from a game called the Burning Wheel, and the Burning Wheel has what's called the Big Wheel, which is like the general rules of the game, which are fairly simple, and then it has the spokes, and the spokes keep the wheel together and keep the wheel moving.
Right.
So you're going to have this big overarching, like, okay, this is very easy, but then you're going to be like, wow, there's a lot of little rules in the game that make the big wheel turn. And that's we'll get to the little rules. But right now, all you need to know is that the game is a D6 system, dice pool system. So that means you're going to be rolling D6s pretty much exclusively. A 1, 2, and 3 is a fail. A 4, 5, and 6 is a pass. 50-50. You will get dice when you roll a skill. Essentially, what will happen is I will give you an ob. So I will be like, oh, you're trying to repair your stagecoach.
I'm sorry, you'll give us a what?
An obstacle. So an ob.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I will say, here's an obstacle. So an obstacle could be like, you're telling me that you're trying to repair the stagecoach because you just broke a wheel. Okay. If you're trying to repair that wheel and get your stagecoach back up and running, I will make that an ob 3. And that's information that I'm not just making up. That's when I go into the artifactor skill. So there's a skill called artifactor, which is used for your all-purpose tradesman kind of thing. So basically that's for carpentry, stonemasonry, woodworking, all that kind of stuff. I guess carpentry, woodworking is very similar, same, but it's all encompassed in that skill for that purpose. So I would say that's an ob 3 artifactor. So then you would see if you have artifactor. If you have artifactor, then you would take the amount of dice you have. So if it's artifactor 2, you would take 2 dice, and if you need 3 successes, that means you have to roll 4, 5, and 6 3 times on 2 dice, which sounds like it's an impossible task. But this is where the spokes come in. So you can get additional dice. So even though you don't have enough for the skill, you can now ask for help. Does anybody have a relevant skill related to carpentry or artifactor or anything like that that can help you out? If so, they can give you help and give you a dice. Do you have a trait like thoughtful or calculative or something like that can relate to this? If you do, that can give you another dice. So there are other ways of getting additional dice. Let's say there's fate and persona and all this stuff, and then you take this pool of dice that you have, and now you roll them out. If you equal the obstacle, you pass. You get to narrate how you passed. You get to tell me your story about what you did and how you fixed it and what you used and that kind of stuff. If you fail, one of 2 things happen. You either get a twist, which means that the situation becomes worse, or, and not just the situation, but like your general scene becomes worse. So it doesn't have to be related to the wheel. It literally could be you guys were being chased by a bunch of guards, and your wheel popped off because you hit a deep trap or something. Your wheel got stuck in it or something. So I could be like, well, those people are caught up to you now. Now you got to deal with them, right? Or I can give you a condition. So if I give you a condition, meaning like hungering, thirsty, or exhausted, or tired, or whatever it is, right? You get to narrate a success, but you have to add in how the condition relates to it. So if I give you exhausted after you repaired the stagecoach, then in your narration, you have to narrate how repairing this exhausted your character. So then you have to add that to your story. So it's all about you narrating for the most part. So it's a lot of that. You're going to be doing a lot of story talking as you play. So that's the cusp of the game. Sounds pretty simple, right? Just D6s. Throw D6s down, beat a number. So that's the general rule. Pretty easy. The smaller things, we'll get to that over time. So let's open up here. We are starting the character creation. We've got, 2 hours in a little bit. So we should be able to finish it now. All right, so hero is a loose term this day and age. You did something that, and you're not worthy of, and you are not worthy, but you are the one, and you're the only one brave enough to face the horrors out there, and with that, a hero must be, you must become. So when I say heroes in this game, I am putting that you are the most heroic people versus the desperate few, which are literally the scattered civilization of humanity. No one else is brave enough to deal with this other than these people, and you're one of those people.
Right.
You will face viciousness, violence, and perhaps other heavily transcendent terrors that's directly from the game. So steel yourself and remember that there can be no bravery without madness is also from the game. Anyways, don't worry about that. I just plagiarized that. That was supposed to be in quotes. Anyways. So we'll assume a hero type. One of the heroes, keep in mind that others might see themselves as being a Hellion or a mercenary, or something warrior-like, but only you can be the Hellion. So if you choose Hellion, you will be the only Hellion. You are the Hellion. Everybody else can be Hellion-like, but they'll never be esteemed as you are, as you are a unique character.
Right.
So the very first thing that I'm going to get people to do here, both of you, is I'm going to get you to choose a hero type. So if you take a look at the Darkest Dungeon hero types here, we have the Crossroads. So if you click on that, you can choose from the Abomination, which is like a shapeshifter, like a half demon, half person shapeshifter. We've got the Antiquarian, which is like a scholar, but also like a gatherer of trinkets and such. We have the Arbalisk, which is a warrior that uses a gigantic heavy crossbow and specializes in medical stuff. So they're kind of like a cross between a ranger and a healer, I guess, in a way. We got the Bounty Hunter, which is like a mercenary who can essentially target somebody and seek to kill them, kind of like out of all at all costs. The Crusader is kind of like the mix between a mercenary and a holy person, kind of like a paladin, but a bit more grimmer by a bit. We've got the Duelist. The Duelist is like a perfectionist of sorts. They're all about kind of like dancing. So they dance with the sword. I guess like that's the only way I can think about it. They like fast movements. They like changing positions. So they're very much DPS, but they're also kind of dance around a lot. Good at dodging and kind of stuff. You got the Flagellants. The Flagellants is a mix between a blood ritualist and a plague ritualist. They are holy people, but they have a duality about them. They have a madness that's inside them already. And that madness takes over every once in a while. They got the Grave Robber. A Grave Robber is literally a person who, I guess, will be robbing graves, but in this case here, they specialize in poisons and antidotes. Hellion is like a berserker type who is all about like being up front, screaming as loud as they can, and killing whatever it comes in its way. Not known for their patience, that's for sure. Highwayman is your rogue, but they also have skills with guns and ranged weapons. Kind of pretty versatile, but keep in mind they are very, very close to a rogue in the D&D sense. Houndmaster, you start off with a companion. So they're kind of like, I guess, a druid of sorts, except for they don't shapeshift. But they're more like the sheriffs. So that's kind of like a sheriff who's like a lawman or a law woman, whatever your law person, and that's their loyal hound. Their loyal hound will stick with them through thick and thin. But it's up to you to survive. We've got the Jester. Okay. Jester is a foolhardy person who is very violent. So they have a violent streak about them, kind of a murderous intent in a way. But they're also known to play pranks and jokes on people, which can be annoying sometimes, but sometimes can actually de-stress the party, make them feel a bit better by their antics and such. But they do have a murder streak, so they do have they also have They also know a tune or two, one or two tunes, which have weird effects. They have like magical effects with their loot, kind of like a bard in a way. Almost done. The Leopard. The Leopard is kind of like a stoic. Doesn't have to be stoic, but like it's a person of extraordinary strength, but also extraordinary will. So these type of people here, they die over time,
Mm-hmm.
but they have like the ability. Their willpower is like what brings them strength. So they have a tremendous ability to survive on their own without any help. Problem is though, because of their sickness, helping others usually comes at a cost. The men at arms is like a battered soldier who has a lot of losses in their life, I suppose, when it comes to people they cared about. They also are known to be a protector of people, protector of the vulnerable a lot of the times, but sometimes they need protection from themselves, and they're not very good at protecting themselves as much as they are of others. The musketeer. Musketeer is kind of like, it's very similar to the arbalist. They have the ability to be kind of like a healer of range, but they specialize in guns. These people, they are very competitive with each other. They will create competitions just to entertain themselves and try to one up other people.
I see.
Almost done. The occultist is your spellcaster, except for they a lot rely on the occult, so they use dark arts in order to kind of get their way. So they have no problem diving into the Eldritch books and going crazy while they're casting spells. The Plague Doctor, they are the folks that will do experiments on the living and the dead in order to try to better their science. But unfortunately, their obsession becomes a problem as they dive too deep into their scientific world. They see people as more as subjects than humans. The Runaway. The Runaway has something to run away from. They are a bit of pyromaniacs. They have the ability to, inflict searing damage on people, I guess we'll call it. But they're also kind of cowards. They will often find themselves running away from situations instead of dealing with it. The Shieldbreaker is known as somebody who had who was started off, I guess, in the person's eyes as being beautiful in the world's view, but due to the horrific things that have happened to that person, they have disfigured themselves in order to make themselves look less beautiful, in order to basically they've changed themselves. The world's changed them, and they changed themselves to become something more than just a pretty face, I guess we'll call it. And they become
okay.
And then the Vestal, I think, is the last one. The Vestal is a sister of battle. They usually come from the abbey of some type of like holy place. They have a divine ability that is shocking people with the ability that they can call upon the Lord of the Flame and have them enact certain things that's not humanly possible. People think they may be touched by the Lord or something like that, but sometimes people think they're probably cursed just as well as the cultist. It's all of them.
Nice. Okay.
Do we know what Demo wanted to play?
Oh.
Demo said they wanted to play the occultist, so I don't know if that's still the case or not. But Demo's not here, so whatever.
Hello, Squiggle.
Hello, Squiggles. If you want to play the occultist, you go right ahead. The Demo wanted.
Well, so I wanted to play the occultist at first, but now I feel a little bit more drawn to the Hellion because I feel like playing through a whole bunch of rage and smacking things sounds just really appealing right now. So if Demo wanted occultist, I could just have a giant axe and be absolutely chuffed with that.
Yep. And you want to balance that team, so
Cool.
having a front runner like the Hellion it's very good to have.
Put me in, coach.
All right, cool. So you can write Hellion underneath the hero slot there on your character sheet, and we'll go over what you need to add in a second here. And what about yourself, Kanagi?
I'm going with the Plague Doctor.
Plague Doctor, cool. Sorry, I was just having a bite of my sandwich here. Yummy, yummy, yummy.
That's okay.
Yes,
What kind of sandwich?
Egg sandwich. I'm actually eating solids now.
Oh.
I'm so happy. Today was the day.
Oh, that's great.
Heck yeah.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
so yeah, put Plague Doctor in the hero slot on your character sheet.
Yep.
And we'll so the next thing you need to do is you need to. I don't know how we're gonna do this, but you see where it says here level 1 Hellion, and it has like what you can wear and all that kind of stuff. If you want to, you can copy that and just drop it into your character sheet under. And I'll show you where. So, so, oh my goodness, what the heck? Looks like somebody's already put a whole bunch of stuff already in the game. Nice. That was you. Oh, Kanagi. You got stuff written already. All right, cool.
Yeah.
You know, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you did that. But if you take a look at level benefit, if you want to put like a brief version or an area, so you can copy and paste your level 1 abilities and drop it into level benefit on the second page.
Right.
There you go. And that kind of like, yeah, you can just shrink the text or whatever to make it fit. But yeah, but at least then that's there, so you have an easy access to read it. And that includes Silver Havoc as well.
Level benefit.
Yeah.
Am I blind?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and open it up here. So if you take a look at Hellion, so if you take a look at my screen here, if you scroll down, you're going to see Hellion level 1. You may use every weapon and armor. You can copy and paste this, and then on the second page on your character sheet, oh, maybe that's what you're talking about. I'm sorry. On your character, you'll see level benefit on the second page under level requirement and benefits. You'll see level
benefit.
Level 1.
That word that says level benefit.
You got it. You can kind of just try to fit it all in if you wish. I know it's not great. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, so I'm going to get you to write down the rest of the stuff. Silver Havoc. I can help you if you wish, but I think you got this. So underneath, so if you take a look at the Hellion there, we've got a couple of things there. So you get to distribute 8 points between health and will, and neither stat may be lower than 2 or higher than 6. But just keep in mind that because of your limitation as a Hellion, your will may not be higher than your health. So your health has to be the bigger number. Or equal. It can be equal.
So basically you're going to make me do math.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, you're just splitting up 8 points, right? So you can go 4 and 4, which is fine. You can do 5 and 3, as long as the 3 is not your will. I mean, not your health, sorry. Or you can do 6 and 1. Right? No, 6 and 2. Yeah. So those are really the only options you have anyway. So the more health you have, the better you are doing physical stuff. The more will you have, the better you are dealing with mental stuff. That's really it.
Okay.
5 and 3.
5 and 3? Okay. So 5 in your health, 3 in your will. Perfect. So then I'm going to get you to write down the following under skills. So I'll go slow with this. So the first skill on your thing should be Fighter 4.
I am ahead of you.
You are ahead of me. Okay, so the only other thing I need you to do, which is something that you guys don't really know about, and so Kanagi's going to have to make this change too, is you're going to have to do what the raw ability is. So you see where it says RA next to the advancement on the skills? So that's your raw ability. So each of these skills have a raw ability that's based off of. So in this case, Fighter is health, Hunter is health. So basically you put an H in RA next to it. So H for Fighter, H for Hunter. Pathfinder is W for will. Scout is W for will. Oh, you don't need to put all the okay. Too many. You just need just a 1H. Yeah, and then the one underneath you can get rid of. There you go. Perfect. And then survivalist, I don't remember. So let me go check. I think it's will, but I don't want to say it's wrong. So I can double check. So if I take a look at skills and I go click on skills, And then I scroll down to Survivalist. Survivalist says... Survivalist. Okay, Survivalist says that the base skill is health. So it's H.
Nailed it.
And Scout is also health, so I made a mistake already. Scout is also health. What else? What else is there? So I'll make sure. And I can do the same for your Kanagi here.
Okay.
So yeah, so we got that. So Pathfinder, I'm gonna make sure Pathfinder is. I can't see Pathfinder being health, but you know what? It is health. Oh my god. All right, I'm just gonna have to use the book from now on because obviously my memory doesn't fit my own words. Me writing this. So that's health as well. So all your things are health. Okay, got it. So your health. Okay, that kind of makes sense for Hellion. Okay, let's go to Kanagi and take a look.
Okay.
Okay. So for you, Kanagi, healer is Will. Is it health? Or you know what? Is it health?
Which one is it?
Sorry, healer. I'm gonna take a look here now. You might have already looked it up. So let me see. Healer is Will. So W.
Will. Okay.
What's the other ones? You want to name them out to me, and I'll search. What your next one is?
Okay. Alchemist.
Alchemist. Alchemist probably Will. Alchemist is Will.
Okay. And then I have. Oh wait. Why are there two sections?
That's just because there's a pass and fail. You only need to put it on the first one. The gray one.
Okay.
Yeah. You can skip the white one.
Cook.
Cook is probably Will. Let me double check though, because I'm an idiot and I don't remember anything. Will. Beginner's luck Will. Yeah.
Scavenger.
Scavenger. Scavenger's health.
Okay, health. Scholar.
Scholar is Will.
Yeah. Criminal.
Criminal. Oh, you've already picked your thing already for that part. Okay.
Yeah,
it's health.
yeah.
It's health.
Health. And then fighter.
Fighter is health.
Okay. And then persuader.
You're way ahead of us. Persuader. Is Will.
Okay. And then it said about a speciality. I couldn't underline it, so I just made it green.
Yeah, that's fine too. Yeah, what's your specialty?
Dungeoneer.
Dungeoneer, okay. And dungeoneering. Dungeoneering is health.
Health. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's me done.
So yeah, I'm just gonna continue with Silver Havoc here now because we have to go over those as well.
Okay.
So Silver, we are continuing with you until we catch up with Kanagi. So the next thing is, now we got everything jotted down there. We don't have everything jotted down. So we need to take a look at your traits. So let's see. I think you should only have one trait.
I have Savage Fury.
Savage Fury, yeah. So drop that into your traits. I would make that a different color than the rest of them because that trait can never leave. You can never remove that trait from yourself. That is embedded on you. And that includes Kanagi as well. Make that a different color so you know that is your class trait. Class traits can never be changed.
Okay. So mine's macabre interest.
Yes, that's right. You have a macabre interest. I will tell you something. The Plague Doctor in the last game we played was messed up.
Oh dear.
They were very macabre. Yeah.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see. Savage Fury. Okay. It's so funny. You guys are playing the same classes as the one in the beta test. But I like it. So Savage Fury, we got that. What else is there? I think that's it, right? Savage Fury.
Do I need to add in my weapons and armor?
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah. So a spear. If you look at the equipment for spear, it takes up. a hand slot, so you can just put it in your hand if you wish to carry it. Because inventory management in this game is very important. And if you don't want to carry it in your hand and you want to carry it in your satchel, I don't think you can. But let me double check to make sure. Because underneath, because you start off with a satchel, but you may end up getting a backpack, which.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, which is not so bad. But backpacks come at a detriment. So give me a second. I'm gonna go right up to the very top here because it's way easier to find it this way. And click on marketplace. So in this case, it would be the blacksmith marketplace. So we're gonna click that. And you got a spear. So let's see what a spear does. A spear. Okay, a spear is hand and carried 1. So that cannot go into... Oh, carried 1. Okay. So that can go into, I guess, tie it onto your satchel for 1 space. So if you want to put it, tie it onto your satchel, you can do so at 1 space.
So, looking at the character sheet, there's worn and carried on hands.
Yep. So carried means what you're carrying. So I can have it
in my hand or...
Yep. So you can have it. So you can have it wear. So you can wear it in your hand. No, you can carry it in your hand, but you can wear gloves in your hands too. Right.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
And then would the leather armor be torso?
Yes. Yeah, leather armor is torso, and I think it only takes up 1 slot. Let me double check to make sure. Leather armor is worn on 1 slot. Yep. Where a plate armor will be worn on torso 2 slots. Because you have 3 slots on your torso.
How do you know what armor?
So you probably don't start any. Let me double check what it says in the plate doctor. I know you get a dagger. Let's take a look. Plague Doctor.
I just have a.
You just have
mask.
A dagger.
I just have a mask.
Yep, Plague Mask. Yep. So Plague Mask counts as a helmet, so you can use it to defend a hit, but you will break your mask. You will have to get it repaired.
Okay.
Repair it yourself. Yeah. It's a 1-shot thing.
Right.
Yeah. So
if I want armor, I'd have to buy it.
Yeah, and armor does come with a disadvantage, right? Like, it's harder to recover from negative conditions like exhausted if you wear armor. So it's like, so it increases the ob. So anytime you try to heal yourself or try to get rid of your conditions, different types of armor will give you detriments to getting rid of your conditions. So wearing no armor can be a good thing because you don't want to get those negatives, but wearing some types of armor can make just recovering from exhausted a lot harder, or other things.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So we're done that. So let's go to the next part here. I know you got to take off soon, Silver. So let me know when you got.
I have at least another 30 minutes, so I can pick up any time in an hour window.
Okay. You let me know.
So as long as I leave
here,
like in the next 30, 45 minutes, I'm good.
Yep. You let me know when you poof, and then I'll continue with Kanagi, and then we'll get Kanagi all straightened up probably by the time you come back. And then just you.
Also, Ninja, it's not the size of the spear, it's how I use it, okay?
and yes, I know that I said to tie it onto the satchel, but essentially, we could say something of the sort that the satchel has its own, like the satchel that goes around you, has its own carrying case, kind of like strap it to your back kind of thing, and we'll just count that as 1 slot, right? So we can make it work narratively as long as we talk about how it works, right? So the next thing is we're going to talk about your base human skills. So something that you learned from being a human, before you dived into being a Hellion. You get to choose from one of these 4, and you get a rating of 3. So you can choose from being a criminal. Maybe you were a criminal at one point, or you had criminal things like you were a good lockpick or something like that. a haggle, or it could be pickpocket, it could be all sorts of things with criminal. Haggler, so basically, you're good at like haggling people, good at numbers, good at keeping track of your money. Pathfinder, which means you're very good at finding paths, finding ways. You don't get lost. Or survivalist, once you're out in the wilderness, you don't have to worry too much. You're pretty good with your hands to build shelters and to hide away from monsters and stuff. So choose one of those three, one of those four, sorry.
And where are we putting that?
So it's going to be another skill. So so you put it underneath your skill, one of your next skills.
I see.
If you repeat one, if you already have it, you would increase that skill by 1. So if you end up already having, let's say, Pathfinder, then if you choose Pathfinder again, you just increase Pathfinder by 1.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is there a rating cap?
Yes. The rating cap is 6. Unless certain things happen. For instance, once you become more than human, your nature descriptors will change, and it could end up increasing a certain skill to a 7 as your max, because you've become beyond you've developed beyond your human limitations. Yeah.
I picked criminal.
Okay. And Kanagi, what is the raw ability of that one? You should have that written down.
It's health.
Health. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Why do I not remember this? And it's funny because I have a cheat sheet that I could be looking at too, and I keep messing that up. Whole point of a spear is its size. Yeah. Well, it's long. It fits in one hand, but it's long. I mean, look at this is the spear here, right? It's oh shit, I don't know where she. Never mind. She has it in her hand. You can stab people with it. Ching ching. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. Generally speaking, you just want to carry it around. Because why not? You look badass carrying a giant spear around.
Never know when you want to poke something with your
Exactly.
Exactly. Thank you.
All right. The next part is where's your home? So there are details on these. I can go ahead and go over it. So we're going to talk about where your home is located to. So we're not going to actually talk. We could come up with your hometown and stuff too, but really the main thing is more so what type of environment did you grow up in? So in this case here, we're going to choose one of these, and you're going to write down which one it is, and then we're going to choose a skill and a trait. So under this, you can choose one of the following. You can either grow up in the Abbey, which is like basically one of the churches, so you kind of live like a church-related life, or could be like could be something like an orphan or something too. The Shroud. So the Shroud is kind of like the shores. If you go down, you can read like a little blurb on it, but essentially it's like you're living on the sea, or out on the sea, or on a boat or something like that. It's essentially you're living on a shore life, a water life, I guess, in a way. The Crossroads is like the busy marketplace, or probably once a busy marketplace, or a place that's just in the middle of things. So it might not even be busy, but you're just in a spot where people have to go through your town to get to the next place or something like that. But generally, it's more like a crossroads of some sort. The Saloose is like caves, so you would have lived in the caves or lived in like the underground locations. The Sprawl, those are massive cities. So the massive cities still exist in the game, but they're all on fire or caved into madness. There are no cities. Everything's a hamlet. Everything is just everybody's hiding into their little hubby holes, their inns or houses, because there's so much bullshit happening. Everything's gone crazy. The world's gone. It's the end of times after all. So the Sprawl is like massive cities, like metropolises, essentially.
Right.
The Courtyard is kind of like nobility, where you grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth. But then again, that comes with its own problems, to be honest. But that's what the Courtyard is. The Tangle is the haunted forest, or the forest in general, but the Tangle is essentially the forest itself gone mad. But it is essentially out in the bones, out in the sticks. The Fortour is like the farmlands, In this case, the Fort Tor is farmland flesh, but it could have been
Oh
something
my
else
God.
before then. But the Fort Tors are basically farmlands, or at least once upon a time were farmlands. And then you got the valley. So the valley is like the only safe haven that remains. So that would be the place where people, the last remnants of humanity, gathers in order to fight against the spreading stain. It's the last remaining town, I guess we'll call it, before all the other places are kind of like disrupted some way. The valley is like on the edge of the spreading stain, probably the last one to be infected by the madness that's spreading. So you can choose one of those.
I'm going sprawl.
The sprawl, okay.
And
so
I'm going sprawl as well.
Oh, nice. So you're both from the cities. That's interesting. You pick commander, you said?
Who?
Okay, Silver. You say which skill did you say you picked?
Commander.
Commander. Okay. So I'm going to open up a second window here because. Oh shit! Can I just duplicate this? Oh shit! Duplicate rumor tracker. You're not gonna need to know about that. That's just my information. Nothing written here, anyways. Let's go here. Let's go down to skills. Skills to pay the bills, everybody. Let's take a look at commander. So commander is used to organize, supply, lead troops, making them essential for mercenaries, captains, and conquerors. So that's going to be. You're going to be putting a 2 in that, Commander 2, and your base ability is going to be Will for that. So for the most part, your Commander is about ordering troops. The more experienced the troops are, or the people, the better you have command over them. This is used to defend towns a lot of the times. When your towns are being invaded and you're trying to rally people to defend, you're using your Commander ability to essentially, or Commander skill, to kind of get the troops in line to defend against the invading groups or to attack. So there are some enemies in this game you cannot kill on your own. You will need a higher might. In order to get a higher might, you would need to do what's called a siege conflict, which means a siege requires like 30 to 40 people in order to besiege an enemy, right? So something like an elder god, or even like a lesser elder god spawn, you would probably need a siege in order to kill them. Otherwise, you would just be able to drive them off, at best, or run away. Unless you had some way to increase your might. But yeah. And by might, I mean that's an actual stat that can go up. But your might will start off at 3. All right, cool. So next you're going to choose a trait. Fiery or Scarred.
Where do traits go?
So traits go on your first page underneath your, towards the bottom of the first page on the left.
Under Savage Fury, got it.
Under Savage Fury. Savage Fury should be a different color. This one could just be a regular one. This one can change. Yeah, this one can change, and this one can be turned into an affliction. This one could be turned into a virtue. This one can literally, yeah.
I'll do Scarred. I feel like she's seen some shit.
Okay, cool. Yep. And once everything is done, if you end up just looking over your character sheet and reading the various different things for your own knowledge, it might help you a little bit understand. So basically, Scarred, as an example, is a trait. So during the game, you may be asked to do a task, and that task you're like, geez, I really want to have another dice, or maybe you'll be like, wow, this task really impacts my character because they're scarred, and then you would literally use your scarred trait by narrating your scarred trait in the action. So you'd be like, I take it my spear, and I begrudgingly remember the time that the last person who hurt me, whatever, said the exact same words, and that scar has now been revealed, and I use that to strengthen my resolve as I do whatever task it is you're doing. An example, right? So that's kind of like the part of the narrative side of it. Okay, next part is, what is your social grace? So everybody's got a way the thing they do to get their way, other than beating people up. So what is your thing that you do to get your way? So you can get a haggler. So basically, you can haggle people to get a better, like I said, better deal on something. That does come into play in town. Manipulator. So you basically lie, cheat and steal. No, just lie. Manipulate people, turn them against themselves, that kind of stuff. Orator, you're talking to large groups of people. You kind of like get people on your side, and that's kind of how you kind of bully other people to get your way. Or Persuader, that you're actually trying to make deals and compromises with them in order to persuade them to see things your way or to give them what they have.
I'll take Orator. I feel like that fits in with Commander.
Cool. Okay. So Orator, you will have a skill of 2. And Orator is will. I know that for sure. Yeah. The one thing I know. The single thing I know. This must be boring to watch.
God. I went with Persuader.
Oh, did you really? Nice. Wow, look at you being all nice and not like manipulating people. Manipulator's more fun though, like especially in the game, because you can intimidate people with a manipulator and stuff. Because you're manipulating them, right? That's not just lying, but you're actually trying to change their way by manipulating them, whether it's emotionally or physically. Yeah. So the next thing is, what is your specialty? So you get to choose a specialty among these. Why is Carpenter here? Oh, it's not Carpenter. I'm an idiot. So each player selects one. No person can have the same specialty. Everybody's different. So unfortunately, Kanagi already went ahead of you. Stole one of the specialties, so you don't get to choose. So which one did you choose? Dungeoneer. Dungeoneer, Kanagi.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So Dungeoneering is pathfinding under dungeons, but also your ability to disarm traps. So that is useful. But yeah, so basically, if you're underground, you can't use Pathfinder. You use Pathfinder when you're above ground, or like traveling through vast valleys and stuff. Dungeoneer is when you're in dungeon settings, like when you're crawling through buildings, tunnels, things like that. You're using Dungeoneer to get by. So that's kind of the difference between the two. So for yourself, you get to choose a specialty. Which specialty do you want? So I guess Cartographer is like for map making. Map making can provide pretty good details when you're venturing off into the wilderness, and it helps you to be able to get back to places. So basically, because in meta terms, cartographer is another word for it is fast travel. So if you have cartographer and you sit down and draw a map during like a camp phase or something like that, you can travel to another location safely without having to risk a roll of some sort, because you mapped it out safely. Cool. Right? So it's kind of like a fast travel.
Does that extend to the party?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that if they're using cartographer and they're rolling cartographer, the party will go along with them, I guess, if they choose to. If they don't choose to, that's up to them.
Okay.
And they can help along with the cartographer skill if need be. But it's kind of like a fast travel thing. It's not like an actual fast travel. It's just it's meant to be kind of like a way that you're documenting stuff. If something changes, like let's say the area explodes or something like that behind you, or catches on fire, you have to find another way, then you cannot use the fast travel cartographer skill if there's danger in between. Like that's pre-recognized. If there isn't, then you're more than happy to do it. Yeah. So we got manipulator again. We got cook, pathfinder, criminal. I don't think anything here needs explanation other than maybe scavenger can find
what
stuff.
What was Pathfinder again?
So Pathfinder is your ability to find your way in the wilderness. So it's kind of like your ability not to get lost, your ability to find pathways safely through things. Yeah, it's kind of like the ability to kind of know that, oh, if we go down this path, we're probably going to run into some waterfall because I sense that there's some sort of like humidity coming
so
down.
it's like having a knowledge, like being like well-traveled.
Yeah, well-traveled, yeah.
And Okay.
I think I'm gonna take survivalist.
Yep. So if you already have survivalist, tick that up by 1, and then make that a color green or whatever color you want to. Color silver. I don't know.
Survivalist is like camp skills, isn't it? It's like
Sorry?
surviving in the wilderness.
Sorry?
Oh, no. Is survivalist camping skills like surviving in the wilderness?
Yeah. So if we take a look here, it's because everything's kind of written here. So it basically says survivalist. I was about to say scavenger. Survivalist. Yeah. So skilled survivalists are adept at constructing shelters, locating water, starting fires, improvising tools. Survivalists can intercept weather conditions to determine when it's safe to travel. So they have the ability to predict the weather as well. So you know that like the weather's going to be bad or
That's
good or
cool.
whatever. Which is really messed up because the weather is all screwed up here in this world because of the haze and stuff. Weather observations are factors to advise the weather conditions. So basically, this is kind of meta-y, but if you succeed on a survivalist roll, you could literally tell me what kind of weather you want. So you can be like, I want it to be a sunny day. Okay, it's a sunny day now.
That's amazing.
It's weird, but until you actually play the game and find out how it works, it runs with the narrative. Like I said, the players have GM powers in a way, so it's not a magical thing. You're not magically making a day. You're just predicting the weather. You're just really good at predicting weather, so you know it's going to be day tomorrow, a nice clear day. So that's what you're going to get.
That's fascinating. I love the idea of it.
Yeah. So you picked it. That's perfect. So now we're going to talk about your wises. So while we talk about wises, I'm going to click on another rock and music outtake here or something. So wises are not something you roll. Okay, this is one of the spokes that I talked about. Remember the weirdness? It's something that you have an area of expertise in that you can either help other people with, or you can spend like Persona and Fate and do something to help yourself with it. It usually ends up being rerolls. So you're kind of like, oh, of course, I'm an idiot. This is how you're supposed to do it, right? And that's kind of like how it's used as a wise. So wises can be the following things. It can be a specific town wise. So like you can choose one of these things like Abbey wise, Scout wise, Crossroad wise, City wise, whatever you want. Nomad wise, could be something town related. It could be a location, which I already kind of went over. Sorry, locations. Could be Pacific monster wises. So it could be kind of like a type of monster. Um, so there are a bunch of different monster types down further if I can come up with. But if you want to be like Gaunt wise, or like I think Undead wise might be one as well. Let me just double check here. There's a whole bunch. A whole bunch of enemies. I think there's like more enemies than there is anything else here. Let's see here.
Are there
Types.
enemies that are just like bad guys? Like not monsters or beasts, but
Oh
just
yeah.
evil guys?
Yep. So
What would that be?
so that'd be
Just
humans.
human wise?
Yeah.
Occultist, right?
Yeah, occultist could be occultist wise, could be human wise. Well, here's the thing. You can also be faction wise, so you could be occultist, looters, uh, bone ramble, gaunt wise, swine wise, usurper wise, fanatic wise, cadaver wise. Right? So these are all the wises you can choose from types or factions, right? And be wise about them. Yeah, see, there's not really a list, right?
But
That being said, like, you can make things that you can see be like. So in this world, you either whatever you want to see in the game, right? Or you fight against it. So if there's no real thing. These are just examples, right? You can kind of make whatever wise up. You can be like, I don't know, deer wise or something. I don't know. But let's see. Inappropriate wises are
Goat
overly
wise.
general. Goat wise, you could do that, yeah. Not suitable allowed. So these following could be anger wise, wound wise, sick wise, hunger wise, adventure wise, alignment wise, which there's just no alignment in this game. Undead wise is too broad. So in that case, human wise would be too broad too. So you might want to choose like a faction, like looters or something like that. Monster wise, location wise, camp wise, fight wise, role playing game wise, GM wise, or plot wise. Role playing game wise. I love that one.
What about Eldritch wise?
Eldritch wise is perfect. Yep. That's good. That's great. So that's how many you get to do here?
2 wises?
2. Yep. Choose another one. Make another one.
And then can I do city-wise since I'm from the sprawl?
Yeah, you can just do city-wise. Yep. That works.
Oh, I misheard that completely. I thought you said tiddy-wise.
Oh no, the degeneracy is already happening.
Titty-wise.
Titty-wise. Ain't no wise that look titty-wise.
It's like, huh?
Listen, it could come up, okay? We all have our
never know.
specialties.
That's right. We have our
It's
specialties.
true.
I've been trained for this moment. Alrighty.
Have you been?
God. All right. Let's see. What's next here?
Okay. So I went with book-wise and trap-wise.
Those are perfect. Those are great. Wises can change, by the way. I don't know if you notice on the character sheet, you see some weird stuff there, right? So on your character sheet, if you take a look at your wises,
pass, fail, and
yeah,
fate and curse.
So anytime you use a wise, it's going to record whether or not you passed using the wise, or failed using a wise, or if you spent a fate point or a persona point. Anytime 4 of those are all checked, you have to choose a new wise. But the bonus is you get a little advancement for it. So once you fill all those out, you get a little bit. So you get to choose and mark a beginner's luck or an advanced skill test. Once you choose, underneath using wises, you'll see it there. It's a little text underneath that. When you have used in all 4 ways, you get a free advancement. So that's kind of nice, right? Because you get to choose if you get a pass or a fail on that. Like it's just a little extra bonus for using your wises appropriately. Yeah. Great. What's next? What's next? We're getting there. We're almost done. Kinda. All right. We're gonna talk about nature now, and then you're gonna answer some questions. I guess Kanani, you haven't got your nature done yet, do you? Or you did? Okay, you did. Okay, I see. Well, we're going to answer some questions. So I'm going to have Kanagi answer the questions too, because I need to know the answer. So
yeah.
So we'll start with Kanagi, because you've already got yours written down. So
okay.
So your base nature starts off at 3. In order to determine your full nature score, you'll have to answer the following questions. If you get a trait from a nature, you get it at level 1. If you already possess it, it'll increase by 1. The first question is, do you sit around the campfire at night drinking and bragging about your feats, or do you use those chilly evenings to quietly prepare for the challenges ahead?
I went with quietly prepare, and I got that thoughtful trait, I guess.
Perfect. Yep. So you got that down as a thoughtful level 1. Perfect. So as you can tell, next to the traits, you can tick on the level 1 next to it, and that'll show that it's level 1. Yeah, right next to it, you'll see 3 different types of things you can have, 3 different levels. It'll be trait level, so make sure you check off level 1, which is 1 per session. Trait level 1. That's all of them.
So for all of them, okay.
Yeah, all of them should be at level 1, which is you can use it once per session.
Okay.
Okay. So the next question is: when others express their concerns, do you insert that your voice be heard, or do you listen attentively to those in need?
I went with demand to be heard.
Demand to be heard. Okay.
I lowered my scholar by 1.
Gotcha. Okay, you went with lore master or scholar. If you don't possess these, to reduce your will. Okay, perfect. And then the last one is: do you flee from the terrifying cosmic horrors that threaten humanity, or do you fearlessly confront them, risking your life?
I went with confronting them, and I'm going with foolhardy.
Perfect. And that's level 1 foolhardy. Perfect. Yep, great. So we're gonna do the same for silver.
I am confused between traits and abilities and skills.
Okay. I will explain that. So the way the skills work, first, it might be the first thing to explain, is that skills is what, so in this game, you don't call for skills. So what you do is you play the fiction. You just tell me what you're doing, do your actions. If something comes up that I think that's like, wow, okay, that's a bit of a challenge, I'm gonna have you roll for that. I'm gonna say, okay, no problem. That task that you're doing is gonna be this. So if you wish to proceed, you're going to end up having to roll the skill. As an example is, let's take a look at your character sheet here. So I have an example. So I might say while you were going through your narrative and explaining what you're doing, I might be like, okay, well, it sounds like to me you're trying to scout ahead of everybody and try to see what's going on, right? To get some information that your character doesn't really have right now, but if they scout it ahead, they may. So I'm going to have you
Mm-hmm.
roll scout, right? Now, at that point, you can say, you know what? I don't really want to. I don't really want to roll scout. I'm gonna hang back and do something else. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. The only time that you cannot take it back is if I say, okay, no problem. Are you okay with using that skill? You say yes, and then I give you an ob. The moment I give you an ob, regardless if it's reasonable to you or not, you have to continue and roll. So if I go, okay, no problem,
Okay.
that's a scout ob 3. And you're like, well, I can't do an op 3. I don't get 2 dice. And I'm like, that's not my problem. You have to figure out how to get those
Gotcha.
dice, right? So that means you're going to have to start asking people for help, or you're going to have to start using your traits. So in that case, you can be like, geez, I can't figure out how to use scout, but or I can't really think about help, but maybe I can think about look at my traits. So then you take a look at your traits and you go, scarred. Okay, is this related to my character's scarred ability or my thoughtful ability? Maybe thoughtful might be
Right.
something that's more useful. You could be like, my character will, or I can say, I will, or you don't say my character. Usually you do it in first person. You'd be like, I
Yeah.
will, I will take a moment and think upon the best pathway, scout around with my eyes to make sure that, I'm not going too hurriedly into this, and I'll take my time and slowly go down the path. And then I would say, okay, that sounds like you're using your thoughtful ability, add your thoughtful. So then you would add a dice. So now you have 3 dice, right? Um,
I have two traits that feel like they're maybe opposite of each other.
yep,
Because foolhardy says ignores warnings, tend to take reckless chances, and brush off dangers are trivial.
yep.
And then thoughtful is observant, reflective, and analyze situations carefully, crafting plans and often lacking in time management skills.
Yep. So
Do,
basically,
do they
that would be known as the duality of humans. So that means essentially
right?
you are thoughtful for certain things, but you are reckless for others. So you can decide which of those falls
Ah,
under. Yeah,
okay,
right. Which of
okay,
those you
that
be?
makes sense. That's very human.
Yeah, very human, right? We're not all just one or the other, right? So that's just basically a duality. And you know what? That happens in the game too. You literally have one quirk that says one thing, and then the opposite quirk is on the other side, right? So
I
uh,
see.
So these traits at level 1, 1D per session. So I can't say every single time I want to do anything, oh, well, I've been scarred, so I get an extra dice. I only get to use that once per session.
you can only use it once per session, and you have to add it to the narrative, and it has to make sense. So the thing with traits is that you cannot reach for skills. You can't reach for traits either. So that means you cannot just insert scarred into like something that doesn't make sense. If you
So
narrate
I,
scarred,
the player, have to give you a reason it should be used.
yes, and it has to make narrative
Okay.
sense.
Mm.
If it doesn't make
Okay.
narrative
And
sense, you just can't
then,
use it.
so what we're looking at now with the nature is abilities or traits?
So abilities is the nature. So what abilities are? These are your base abilities. So an example is your will is 3. So let's say you did an orator roll against somebody else, right? Like say as a versus. So you're trying to outtalk somebody else and convince the people to hear your way. So two people
Mm-hmm.
you're arguing against another commander or something. Let's say as an example, or the mayor of the town. You're like, you got to get your people out of here. There are pigmen coming and they're going to slaughter everybody here. And they're just like, no, we've been here long enough. We got fortifications. We don't have to worry about them. Then they're trying to convince the people to run away, and the other people are trying to convince people to stay. So that could be a versus test. So let's say you roll your dice and you and the other person tie. So you got 2 successes, the other person got 2 successes. So you're like, well, shit. All right. So the next thing is you have an option. You can
Mm-hmm.
lose the conflict on or the test on purpose by using one of your traits against yourself in order to earn a check, which I haven't gone over yet, so don't worry too much about that. Actually, I think you earn 2 checks actually, which is pretty good. Or you can continue with the orator by testing your base skills. So in that case, because your raw attribute for orator is will, you would then roll your will versus their will and see who has the most willpower to keep the argument going.
Okay.
Oh.
And then
So right now my nature has a slash through it.
yes, so that means that
Yeah.
that's weird. I know. So what happens is that your nature will have a maximum nature and a taxed nature.
Okay.
So your nature will start off at max, whatever it becomes, like a 4, 4, 5, 5, 3, 3, whatever it is. You can use nature in replace of any skill you don't have. So let's say somebody says, well, you're saying I need to do this task, and you're like dungeoneering, and Kanagi's not there to bail you out, or Kanagi doesn't want to do what you're doing, because that can happen too. Kanagi just be like, I'm not
Mm.
fucking doing that. You're crazy, bitch. I'm not doing that. And then and then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to do it myself. So you have the option of doing what's called the beginner's luck, which means you're going to try to learn to be a dungeoneer, but obviously
Okay.
that's not going to be great. Or you can use your nature in replace of it. The problem is that if it's not one of your nature descriptors, which we're going to get to, you will tax your nature. You will damage your nature, and that essentially can damage your attachment to humanity or your mental state.
Oh,
Okay.
so it's like going against your own nature.
Your own
So I
nature.
start with 3 and then we answer these questions.
You got it.
And it either increases nature or
Gives you a trait.
gives me a trait.
Or lowers nature.
Okay.
Yep. The lower your nature, the further you're away from humanity. So an average human, so a desperate few, which is like the average scared, cowering, boasting, demanding, running away human, has a nature of 7. So there are multiple ways to die in this game, or forfeit your character. Okay, so you can either die by getting the dead condition, which could be from a kill conflict, or the grind. The grind literally being over time your character slowly dies from if you're not tending to yourself, right? If you're not giving yourself self love, you're going to eventually die from just existing. There's also a thing called nature issue. So if your base nature, so your max nature ever becomes 7 at the end of a session, or becomes 0, your character will also no longer be playable. So if your character gets a nature of 0, max nature 0, not tax, but max, they have a heart attack, or they turn crazy and become part of the monsters. If they have a nature of 7, they become too much like the other humans and they cower away in their corners, talking about how much of a hero they used to be. So you would lose the ability of being, if you have a nature of 7, which is like the only stat that right now can go up to 7, you will lose your ability to be a hero anymore. You're too much of a coward. You only can run, boast, and demand. You have no other abilities. So, so that's why you want to keep your nature in the middle and not make it too high, because too high means it's good, but you're too much of a desperate few, or you don't want to keep it too low because you're going over the edge of humanity. So you want to kind of keep your humanity balancing in the center.
So the human nature questions. The first one, I boast, so my nature's 4.
Okay.
And then the second one, choose to listen, so I gave myself extrovert.
Yep.
And then the third one, bravely face the threats, and I'm going to give myself defender.
Yep. Perfect.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
Exciting.
And your nature is going to go up and down as you go. So your nature descriptors, your starting nature descriptors, written under should be boasting, demanding, and running.
Nature descriptors.
Yeah, it should be underneath nature.
Boasting.
So as long as you're doing those things, as long as you're narrating that you're boasting, demanding, and running, your nature can only go up because you're being human. But if you're not doing those three things, you are being beyond human.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, humans are
Okay, and
cut
then
down.
extrovert and defender are traits, not nature descriptors.
You got it. They're traits.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the things
just
that you.
making sure I'm tracking.
Yeah, I know. I get you. I know.
The nature.
Yep. Go ahead.
Sorry. The nature descriptors are boasting, demanding, or
And running.
running. So I pick one of those three.
No,
right?
all three. You got all three.
All three. Okay. Copy and paste.
All that means is that if you're running away from something, using your nature will not tax your nature. So that's good.
Okay.
So just keep fleeing from combat, and you become nice and human.
Right. Craven.
So the next thing is circles and relationships. So circles and relationships. Circles can be used to find assistance and information and relationships. So this is how you create characters that are not in the game. So if you want to create a character and give them a name and tell me about their story, you're going to want to roll circles. So this is your turn. This is how you insert characters in the game. And also we're going to insert some new characters because we're going to talk about your character's past. So so right now you're going to answer the questions. Your circles are going to start at 1 right now, and then you're going to answer the following questions. So do you have friends you encounter occasionally? Or have you always been a solitary individual, tough and self-sufficient?
I feel like they'd have friends.
Sure.
Or at the very least acquaintances.
Yeah,
I feel like that
they're an extrovert.
in this world that counts as friends.
Yeah, they're an extrovert, so it makes sense that they have friends, right? They put themselves in the world. So in that case, what you're going to do is you're going to increase your circles by 1. Then I'm going to get you to write your friend's name on the character sheet and choose a skill and a home location. So in this case, you're going to put down their first name or whatever. And then you're just going to do comma or whatever, the skill that you want them to have. So they'll be like,
for friends.
Yeah, friends is right up by your name.
Friend. Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So you're just going to type in, like, you might need to lower the font size and that kind of stuff, but I mean, but if you want to just skip the name and just go with the skill for now. So basically, it's going to be whoever the blank. So it'd be like blank Vikaroth the armorer as an example, right? And then you just put down sprawl. So like that's where they're, from the sprawl or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah, there we go. Leon the Haggler sprawl. Perfect. That's awesome. And then as for Kanagi chose. You have a friend too. Okay, and you've got Alina the criminal. Okay, you're trying to decide which one it is. Oh, okay. Kanagi always going ahead. Always going ahead. All right. You still there, Kanagi?
Did Kanagi mute herself?
Kanagi got on mute?
Oh my god. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't understand until you mentioned, so I changed it.
Oh, no problem.
To the criminal. Sorry for reading myself. I sneezed and then I completely forgot. Even though there's a flashing button that tells me I'm muted.
It's all good. So basically, all that means is that person, whatever your skill is in that, generally that means that they are skilled in that particular thing. So probably higher than what you are, essentially. They are
okay.
good at that thing. Yeah. So the next thing is the question is: do you have living parents that you can tolerate speaking with, or are you an orphan?
I went with orphan.
Okay. So if you're an orphan, you
Um,
possess a keepsake from your parents around your neck or your hand. So you can basically, that means like you can have like a ring or some kind of something to remember them by. It has sentimental value, so keep that in mind when you write a description about it. It is 1d
Mm-hmm.
worth of treasure. So in this game, treasure is measured in dice. You never get a direct value in this game. It's always going to be a dice roll. So when you write down the item, put a 1dv next to it. 1dv mean one dice value, and that's what it's worth. And add it to your inventory. So you can put it as a worn slot, either in your neck or in your finger, or if you want something else, like a picture or something like that, or even like a, I don't know, a locket or like a clock or something like that, like a
Mm-hmm.
wristwatch, just let me know and we can make it happen.
Okay.
So I'll let you think
I
about that.
I, I put an amulet,
An amulet?
and I'm
Okay.
wearing it around my neck.
What's so sentimental about the amulet?
Uh, it's was given to me to protect me when I was in the sprawls. So amulets are like objects that are like superstitious.
Right.
Like you can have an amulet and it protects you against evil or things like
Mhm.
that, but
Uh, uh,
they don't really have that ability. They're just superstition, I guess.
a superstitious plague doctor. That's interesting. Um, so basically, what happened to your parents? All right. See you
Uh,
later, Meg.
oh, I guess they were scholars themselves, and basically, I feel like they abandoned me in their own pursuits in the sprawl.
So basically, they were being fleshed out by like the people because they're of their intelligence, or that they're being criticized or something, and they had to give you up in order to save your life or something like that, or they just gave up on you because they're just like, ah, get the fuck out of here. Like, what kind of attitude did the parents have to give you up as an orphan?
I think I was thinking more like cool intellect in the sense that they um, weighed up the pros and cons, and then they were like, this gets in the way of our academic research."
Nice. Sorry, you're just get out of here. Here, have an
Yeah,
amulet, but superstitious. We don't believe in it either, but whatever. Go. Get out of here.
but I was thinking um, you could have that one of the parents was like a leading scholar
Ah.
at the university, and then your mother is the one who is like an assistant to them, but is
Ah.
also maybe a little bit superstitious, but not so scholarly. And
Hmm.
they both are like, we have this amazing opportunity to just dive into our research,
Hmm.
um,
So off you go.
but they don't want the burden.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll keep that in mind. So they exist, but you can't stomach them, tolerate them, or don't know where they are. One of the
Or
three.
that they don't have even the time of day for me. They're off in the higher echelons of the um, researching circles.
Very interesting. Okay, cool. That's interesting. All right. What about you, Silver?
I am gonna play an older character. I put my age as 45.
Hmm.
Um, Going with the
Mhm.
fact that she's seen some shit.
Hmm.
So I put that my parents passed after childhood.
Okay.
In a non-dramatic sort of like, I'm assuming people just don't really live that old in this world.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
they could. Yeah, I
So
mean,
they're, whether it was sickness or monsters or
yeah.
whatever other shenanigans, just that
Natural
They
causes.
passed. I'm not, classic orphaned as grew up on the streets or whatever.
No.
But they're just not alive anymore.
Yep. So you get the same thing.
And I'm gonna have a ring, one of my parents' wedding rings.
Oh, the wedding ring. Nice. So your parents, they lived a full life for as long as a full life is in this world, and you gave them, and they gave you. Well, I guess they had, I guess, a will of the ring, and that's your object. Okay, perfect. That's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of have a bond to it. That's kind of nice. And these things are good to keep in mind. These sentimental things, because like if they come up, you can use them as like a dramatic. So there's a thing called the right tool. Sometimes just having a sentimental thing that you can narrate into the story, saying that I've got this thing and I'm using it to kind of instill myself to do something, could end up being used at the right tool. So the ring, even though it has a value that you can sell, which is not a lot, but your character might have a better
Mm-hmm.
value of using it as like a means of resolve, right? So.
Ooh.
Mm.
Might try to flesh that out a little bit more and send you more thoughts on that in DMs.
Yep. The only thing I warn you about is just don't go too deep into the backstory, because those might flesh out in flashbacks.
Right.
But
Ooh,
Gotcha.
okay.
yeah, so you might end up revisiting your parents, but in a flashback. Yeah.
Okay. I have some thoughts, but not anything like super specific. I
Yep.
just would like to kind of flesh it out a little bit more.
100%. That's not a problem at all. So yes, the last
Okay.
thing is there, like, well, there's a couple, I guess. So the other thing is, do you have a mentor, or have you carved your own path through life's challenges?
Right. So I picked a mentor for this one.
Okay. If you have a mentor, increase your circles by 1. Record the name of your mentor and their skill which is your specialty. So it has to be your specialty.
My specialty. Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
They're the ones who taught you your specialty.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there we go.
And then Silver.
Mildred the survivalist.
Okay. Mildred, the survivalist. Now I got a question about the mentors. How did you come about? Like, who are these mentors? Are they mentors? And I guess we'll start with Silver first. Is your mentor
Mm-hmm.
somebody like in your life or related to your parents? Did you do training, soldier training, or some kind of like survival training with this person? What was the reason about the mentor? Like, why is there a connection between the mentor and yourself?
So I see my character as kind of heavy on the commander and orator with the sprawl in the city. Like they were a kind of higher up soldier.
Okay.
And potentially the mentor was someone that they worked alongside. The mentor wasn't necessarily a leader, but the mentor was in charge of making sure everyone survived.
Okay.
So where Vaco was in charge of organizing troops and doing that sort of stuff, Mildred was in charge of making sure all of the survivalist stuff was going, and then taught Vaco everything that she knew about that.
So instead of a personal role, they were more of like a teacher in a classroom sort of role for you.
Or like in the field, really.
In the field. Okay. Perfect.
And just years and years of working together.
Mm-hmm. Develop that
Picked a lot up.
relationship and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now in the idea that too, we didn't really establish anything with regards to this, but essentially, the cities may not have fallen to madness. You know, they could have fallen to madness later in life. So basically, the city might have been like a peaceful place up to 20 years ago. 20 years ago, as an example, but like, so you might have learned these skills when things were just kind of like what we would consider to be normal, but then something happened and the world's fucked up, or the world's always been fucked up
Mm-hmm.
and it just got worse, right? So we haven't really established that yet, but that's something to kind of keep in the back of your head. We can do some world building on that in the future.
Right.
And I see you have Ellen de Montfort.
Alan de Montfort.
All right.
the Dungeoneer.
So tell me about how you know them.
Okay. So after being abandoned by my parents in the sprawl, and going along with the idea of the criminal trait and my friend being a criminal, I was thinking that Alan de Montfort is a bit of a scholar himself in the sense that he is a Dungeoneer expert. He is money-minded.
Oh, he's
and
plundering.
He wants to go. Sorry?
He plunders the caves and stuff. Like when he
Yes,
like...
that's right. Exactly. So he's looking for these orphans and urchins and that, and using them as labor. And so he's training me in those ways. And I was also thinking he's also maybe a bit of the pull towards me becoming a plague doctor.
Nice. Yeah, no worries, Silver. Yep. When you come back, I'll make sure everything is squared away by session 1. I do have a bit more time, so if you do come back in like 30 to 45 minutes, I should still be here if you want to finish up, Silver. So just want to let you know.
I shouldn't be gone super duper long, so if you're still live, I'll be back if you are. But if I'm not, that's fine, and we'll get it taken care of.
We'll clue it up on offline with Democrat and everybody. So don't worry about it.
Perfect.
So I'm gonna let you know that if you choose to have an enemy, the enemies are not kind of like out to slit your throat. Maybe not. They start off as rivals. So they start off as they're out to best you or out to one up you or make you look bad.
Oh,
you know?
okay. Right.
These are also used as alternative characters because the enemies are also one of the unused hero types. Okay, so they are also trying to see the best for the world. They just might be an enemy to you. They're not bad people. They just have an issue with you.
Right. So, from what I'm understanding with the friend and maybe the mentor and the enemy, is that if you die, you play as that character, right?
The mentors, no, only the enemies. Only if you have an enemy do you get to use your enemy as a secondary character.
Oh, okay.
No one else is a hero except for you and your enemy, and other players, and their enemies.
Right.
Everybody else is just.
So if you don't have an enemy,
yep. You just have to make another. You just have to make another one from another character from scratch. That's all, or come up with a story hook from a character that you wish to play as. So, like, if you want to play as your friend, you have to tell me why he decided to go down the path of being a hero, and how it makes sense that friend became the next hero in line to try to fight against darkness. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't want to put a hero, but an enemy.
That's fine.
But
yep. So you just get a +1 circles.
Oh, it adds a +1 if you don't.
Sorry. The advantage of not having an enemy is simply not having one. Okay, yeah. So yeah, just leave that blank. And that's okay. You don't need enemies. Yeah.
So if I'm right, by having a friend, I've got +1, which makes it 2, and then by having a mentor, I add +1, that makes it 3. So it's rating 3 right now.
You got it. Circles 3.
Okay, awesome.
So now we're going to talk about your resources.
Okay, I haven't got this far.
Yeah, no worries. It's going to be very easy. While you might have once been wealthy or well equipped, you have now willingly sacrificed that life to embrace the flame. All that you own is what you carry on your back. Each character starts with a resource score of 0.
Resource, okay, 0.
So that means when you go to buy something, so resources in this game is a couple things. It's your reputation, your credibility, your ability to kind of, I guess, what you own. So if you have 0 resources, you cannot use your reputation, your credibility to get anything. So you will literally have to use value of money. So that means using your ring or whatever you find as like additional dice to what when you go to purchase something. The bonus is in order to get your resources up by 1, you just need to pass once. You pass once with a resource roll using money, your resources go up by 1. You pass again,
Okay.
you'll go up to 2. In order to bring it up to 3, you will have to pass twice and fail once, which will bring you up to 3. So it gets more difficult to bring up resources the more resources that you have.
I see.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing things that the certain skills like Persuader or Haggler, do they affect that?
Yes. So Haggler can change. Haggler can change certain things. So Haggler is it's at the beginning of a town phase, and I know this is gonna sound like
Mm-hmm.
what the fuck you talking about, Vic. You have the opportunity to roll Haggler. So and I'll show you what
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about so that it makes a bit more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is a bit meta, but so you enter town, you can influence the way people see you. Um, okay, first of all, I should say if you enter a safe town, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
because
Right.
there are towns that are not safe. And that's rolled, by the way. I don't get to choose if it's a safe town or not. So here's Haggler. So if you successfully haggled, you roll a 1d6, and then this is what you get for haggling. So you could end up
Mm-hmm.
getting an extra 1d resources with effective markets. You can get +1 loot to effective markets. So by effective markets, I mean when you go
Mm-hmm.
to do your roll, you look at your haggler skill and it shows you all the different markets, and you can choose which
Right.
markets you want, and for each market you choose, it increases the odd by 1. So the more markets you want to influence with your haggle, the more difficult it's going to be to haggle with all of them. And if you fail, you'll get a negative
Oh,
thing that happens to you. Right? You bum.
well,
None of
that's
your
cool.
nonsense. We know you. Right? Police.
You bum.
You bum. Yeah. You again. Yeah. So yeah, that's how Hagler works. It's more of like a thing of like trying to influence shops to see things in a better light for yourself, but it can be reversed.
Oh,
Mm. So there's
that looks interesting. Okay.
additional adventuring gear. Weapons and armor provided based on the hero type. For other equipment, you need to ask it or you consult your GM. So what I usually do is during the beginning of the game, I have a set of equipment that's going to be given to the party. We're going to say. And then you guys
Mm-hmm.
can divide up the equipment based on what you want. So we're not going to give any additional equipment until the beginning of session 1. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to let you guys fight amongst yourselves of who gets what. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I
Did
should.
like we have a shared chest of starting gear and we just reach in?
There'll be a story element to it. Like for instance, there's going to be a story element to how everybody kind of gets together, and there'll be a story element to why you're getting certain items. It will make sense narratively,
Oh.
but it's going to be given to people
Mm-hmm.
in general who are brave enough to battle against the dark. I will say that the first session is going to be a bit rough, because one, you're going to be trying to learn the rules, and two, you're not starting
Mm-hmm.
off with the flame. So that means that you're automatically
Oh.
going to be starting at a disadvantage as you play. But don't worry, it'll make more sense as you play. So
Okay.
you don't get any spells because that's only for occultists
Mm-hmm.
and vestals. They get some cleric spell. They only get consecration of light. So in your case, we're going to talk
Okay.
about atonements, goals, dark secrets, and instincts. Probably these are the things I have to base the campaign and stuff on. Um, so these are important. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I need all three of you have these all filled out before we play.
Okay.
So let's go talk about the atonement. So I need you to write. Let me just read it out here. You will be defined as 4 aspects of your character's personality by creating a phrase or sentence for each of the following. Just each. I'm just adding words at this point. An atonement, a goal, a darkest secret, and an instinct. Revoking or invoking,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, these aspects in your actions and decisions will earn you rewards to enhance your dice rolls and to help you level up. So this is how you get experience points.
Okay.
As you create your character, write down your atonement, your dark secret, and instinct, You'll define your goal once the GM's outlined the first session. So basically, once I give you a reason to do something, you're going to write a goal. And your goal doesn't have to be go loot the chest or whatever. Your goal could literally be make sure this person doesn't die or get hurt. Make sure you're setting your own goal. You could literally be like, make sure I retrieve the item, or make sure that I proves to somebody that
so it's scenario wise.
Well, it's personality wise. You can literally be like, my goal is to impress somebody. I want to make them notice me. Notice me, senpai. It could be anything. Whatever your goal is that you want to have when you're playing.
I was wondering if it was like, is the goal like the whole game?
No.
Like, this is my goal, or is this the goal in the particular
session
moment?
Yeah. So
session, right.
So you're going to be like, your goal could be like rescue the maybe I'm not going to say this is the first session, but I could be like, maybe there's some desperate few that are trapped inside of a cave or something, and you feel like you saving their life might help bring you towards redemption. So your goal could be rescue their life, but maybe you don't complete it in the first session. That's okay, but you know that you are working towards that goal and it's obtainable, right?
Yes.
So in this case, we're going to talk about atonement first. So your atonement serves as the driving force, pushing you, often desperately, towards redemption. So that's one thing all heroes have in common. They have a path towards redemption. It acts as a belief or a guiding pillar that gives you hope and strength. Create one for your character and note it on your character sheet in the designated area. If you invoke your atonement during gameplay, as it guides your actions, even leading you into trouble, you will receive a reward at the end of the session. Should your atonement lead you to a moment to a crisis of conscience, and you choose to betray it through dramatic choices, you will earn a different type of reward, or different reward.
Ooh,
so atonements can also be used in a negative way, where you thought you believed one thing, but you have occurred or encountered some drastic things that changed your character's perception forever.
Right.
Yeah.
So I used so I've been a little ahead and did this, and I was looking at the sample heroes.
Yep.
Looking at what they put for atonement, and I went with no one can hold back my research anymore.
That's great. I like it. That's really good. Yeah.
I
like it. It's because, okay, so here's the other thing, and I think I've explained this to everybody, but this is like a competitive game. So like, you're all cooperative because you're in a party, but I did mention that if your needs outvalue your party members, you will do whatever it takes to get your needs, even if it means betraying your party members.
Ooh.
All right, so keep in mind that everybody here are friends until something comes up that's more important than their friendship.
You get in the way of my research.
That's right.
Ooh.
Yeah, get out of here. And exactly. I'm telling you, that's kind of how it is. Because if you think about Darkest Dungeon 2, you have like all the relationships, right? Where you're suspicious or good, right? You could have respectful, but then you could have the negative relationships. So basically, you're only friends for as long as you're cooperating together. But when somebody stops the other person from getting what they need or what they want, it can turn real quick. Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
Is that such a system in place in this, in the sense, I guess that's, I can understand. So from
That's
a story point of view, two characters might conflict.
Yeah, that's
one wants to be more virtuous, and the other one's like, no, we could just take the money ourselves, or something like that.
Yep. Your atonement, your goals, and your darkest secret, and even your instinct could completely grind against somebody else's needs and wants. So.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, and it's meant to be that way. So. So the next thing is your instinct. So it's going to be, instincts are conditional actions, something that you always do, never do, or if something happens, this happens.
Welcome back, Silver.
Oh, welcome back, Silver. Wow, you're fast. Let me remove your grave. I call it a grave, but it's really not a grave. All right, I guess we can kind of get Silver on board too, because we're not that far ahead. You're fast, Silver. Holy crap, you are fast. Let me know if you're good, Silver. We'll continue on with you because we're nowhere ahead.
I am good. We left off at Mentor. Circles.
Mentor? Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Mentor.
That's nowhere.
Mm.
Yep. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go back to Mentor. So that's after this.
Well, I think
right?
we're good with Mentor, but whatever's after Mentor.
After Mentor, okay. So the next thing is, have you made an? Oh nope. Oh, a Mentor, and then the next thing is enemy, right? That's the only one not filled. Okay.
Yeah.
So then it's like, have you made an enemy in your life, or have your misdeeds managed to go unnoticed? So before you answer that question, I'm going to let you know a little bit of something that I told it to Kanagi. Your enemy doesn't necessarily want to cut your throat and kill you or anything like that. A lot of the times, enemies in this game are rivals who are out to best you and make you look bad, but can turn into murderous cutthroats. I mean, depending upon how you treat them and stuff. But they have an issue with you and only you. So they may not have any issues with your party, but they just have an issue with you. These are considered to be heroes, just like you. So you will end up having to to write down an unused hero. So you have to choose one of the heroes from the list that hasn't been chosen yet, and it can't be a player. Has to be an NPC. And these enemies can be your secondary character in case you die.
Right.
Because they are also heroes. They're out to save the world just like you, or to be brave. They just don't agree with you.
In that case, the duelist.
The duelist. All right, cool. Let's do it. So name the person, put in the duelist. That's all you need. You don't even need to give them a location, I don't think. Because they're everywhere. They're a hero just like you. They're traveling around doing shit. Saving people. Maybe they won't save you, but they'll save other people for sure. Question's going to be now is, why are they pissed off at you? Why they don't like you?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like the name. Elveka.
Nice.
Because I'm
better,
not precise and unhinged, and I got where I'm at by being just pure violent and berserking, whereas they've honed their skill.
So
and it's bullshit.
So were you?
I love it.
Were you like siblings? Are you siblings, or is it like part of the warrior thing when you guys were out training and stuff? Like, where did you?
Ooh, maybe we trained together from like the start, and over many, many years, it went from a friendship to a rivalry.
Perfect.
Ooh.
Excellent. I love it.
So kind of like the opposite of lovers to like rivals to lovers, and then now it's lovers to rivals.
And now, and now the duelist has a bullet with your name on it, because they have like little guns, little handheld guns.
Oh.
Yeah. But maybe they're not out to kill you. They're just wondering, when the time's right. All right, cool.
That's fun. Okay.
So that's perfect. So your next user starting resources. So your starting resources, it says here, while you may have been wealthy and well-equipped, you are willingly sacrificed to embrace the life as the flame. All you own is what you carry on your back. You start with 0 resources. So just put 0 in there. You can raise your resources by making resource rolls, but you need to use loot in order to do that. So that would be like using gold or using gems, using silver spoons, whatever you find that might be of value that somebody might like. You can use that to sell it off. If you try to sell off your old gear, your old stinky, used, beat up gear, yeah, they don't want that shit. So you don't be thinking that your leather armor that has your like sweat and injuries and blood covered under it. They don't want that shit. But anything of value they'll want, yeah. They don't want garbage.
Okay.
Additional adventuring gear will be given at the beginning of the session because it's going to be story related, and I'm going to let you all fight among who gets what. So let the bloodbath begin. I'm just joking.
Okay.
And that's it, because you're not a Vestal, you're not a cultist, so we're going to go right into Atonement and continue off where we were. We did kind of go on a big tangent, because Kanagi had questions about
Yeah.
the flame tracker and conditions and all that sort of jazz. But you know what?
Yeah.
It's okay. You can look over the VOD for that, Silver, if you want to.
We'll do it live.
Yeah, we'll do it
Oh,
live.
we'll figure it out. Yeah.
We'll do it
I
live.
feel like those sort of things are easier to do when when you're playing, rather than like, oh, this is what it is.
And to be honest, the first 2 or 3 sessions may feel a bit, well, maybe 2 or 3 sessions, maybe the first 2 sessions might feel a bit awkward. But then, like, the problem is we're probably going to be playing like once a month, so it's probably not going to feel it's never going to feel fluid, I don't think. But you know what? Over time, you may end up going, oh, I remember that now, or I remember that, right? So there'll be a bit of fluidity to it, but yeah, 2 sessions in should be enough. Really, technically speaking, in order to feel the way this game really works, you need about 5 sessions to kind of get the real
Okay.
flow. But the first 2 should be enough to make you feel comfortable enough with the rules. Yeah, without reading the entire book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Atonement. So, as you can see by your name, under your name and all that jazz that's there, oh, just keep in mind everybody's level 1. So if you want to put a 1 in your level, that's fine.
Okay.
Underneath
There we go.
the atonement skills and stuff like that, you're going to see a bunch of like blanks that are there. So I'm going to get you to fill in those blanks now. So there are 4 aspects we're going to fill out. The first one's going to be atonement. So your atonement is going to be a sentence or a statement. Your atonement serves as a driving force that pushes you, often desperately, towards redemption. It acts as a belief or a guiding pillar that gives you hope and strength. Create one for your character and note it on the character sheet in the designated area. If you invoke your atonement during gameplay, space, using it to guide your actions, even if it leads you into trouble, you will receive a reward at the end of the session. So that's your experience points, which we're going to get to. It's called Fate and Persona. It's called Artha. But anyways, um, and should your atonement lead to a crisis of conscience, so basically it causes you a dramatic pain of some sort, you can choose to betray it dramatically and receive a different reward. So basically, if your atonement brings you to a brink where you have to challenge your own beliefs in a dramatic fashion and change them in a way that's breaking the character's resolve, then you can get a different type of reward. Yeah. So this part's probably the toughest for most players because
Yeah. At the bottom of the PDF or the document, so Silver, there's sample heroes.
Yep, I can read them out if you want me to.
Bottom of the document.
Yeah. So yeah, we're talking around 258.
Found it. Perfect.
Okay. And I for me, I went with no one can hold back my research anymore. That's my my line.
Ooh.
But it looks interesting. I've gone with this kind of like character that's in their research and they won't let anyone cross them. If you get in the way of my research, ooh.
Yeah, so I was explaining this before, and I don't know if you heard it before, Silver, but this game is competitive. You are a party member until you want something, but if you want something bad enough, you'll betray your party members for it. So a lot of these things they arrive because of people's goals or their atonement. But that's just how the game is played. It's you guys are friends or friendly towards each other until you stand in someone's way, and then they'll do anything it takes to get what they want, which falls under the Darkest Dungeon theme.
How about violence is always the answer?
Okay, perfect.
Ooh.
Yep.
A real hellion.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's fair. Well, violence is always the answer. That's perfect. And you know what? It's funny because if that ever becomes an object of conscience, was it the conflict of conscience or whatever? It'd be very interesting to
Crisis
find
of
out.
conscience.
Yeah, crisis of conscience. Thank you. It'd be very interesting to find out what happens when they have to not use violence for something.
Because actually, violence
Mm.
isn't always the answer.
Yeah, not always.
But
That's true.
nah, violence is always the answer.
Of course it is. Of course it
Flip
is.
the table. Break the door down.
Yes. Heck yeah. Let's do it. Violence. I think we're all on the next one. So the next one is instinct.
Instinct, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
these.
You said that goal was that it's based on like the moment what the session is, right?
Right. So yeah. So I forgot it. So when you define your goal at the beginning of the first session, and your goal will change all the time. So your goal is going to be something that you want to achieve during the sessions, or it could be a couple sessions. Like an example, as I was saying to Kanagi, was maybe there was some trapped people in a cave. Your goal could be like rescue those trapped people, or it could be make sure Kanagi's character doesn't get harmed, or maybe it's like make sure you rob them for all they're worth. Whatever the goal is, you write that in for your session. It doesn't have to be directly related to what you're doing. It could just be something else, something that you can achieve within 1 or 2 sessions, generally speaking.
Right.
Because you'll get rewards for working towards your goal. You'll get rewards for completing your goal. But your goal can never be. Well, we're gonna get to what your goal can't be in a minute here.
Okay.
So your instinct. So you have to make a statement that says, I always do this, I never do that, or if I do this, this happens. The reason instinct is important, and we went over it with Kanagi, is that instincts do not trigger passage of time. So if you do something under your instinct, you won't tick off the flame tracker, so it doesn't advance time. It's just something you do automatically, or something you do without thinking about it. It's just something you just do. Like you
Right.
don't even have to talk about it. You'd be like, but I always hunt winter's break. So basically, camp phase happens, and you're instantly already hunting off to do something because that's your instinct, and it doesn't even take you time to do it because you're just that efficient because that's your instinct.
Right.
Could be,
Can it be something like checking behind for someone following?
Yep.
Like I'm always watching over my shoulder.
That's literally perfect.
Ooh.
Hey.
So if I say to you,
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, I always use my concoctions to heal and restore. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No. How about I always make concoctions when I'm able to?
Okay, yeah. I'll always.
Because you don't want to limit yourself too much either. Because you can also make poisons and bombs and stuff. The whole thing with fucking Plague Doctor is fucking making things go explode.
I will always make my strange concoctions.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, whatever it does. I like it. Because one of the things you get is called experimental vapors, and you don't know if it's going to harm somebody or help them. It's like you're experimenting on somebody. Yeah, it's like a random spell. You're like a chaos mage in a way.
I don't have an ingredient list. I just throw shit together, see what happens.
You do have an ingredient list actually. So, if you look at Plague Doctor and look at experimental vapors, it has a list of ingredients, and for every ingredient you get an additional dice, or get an additional number, I think, or whatever. It brings up your chances of getting something positive, right? So, or actually, I think actually it says that you can raise it or lower it. So if you want to get a negative effect, you can use ingredients to lower your number so you can do harm to somebody, or you can use the ingredients to make it better for somebody. So it depends on what you want to do with your ingredients. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That looks fun. Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah, it's
strange
fun.
concoctions it is.
It's fucked up, but it's fun. I like it. So the next thing is Darkest Secret.
Okay.
Darkest Secret is compose a sentence that encapsulates your character's darkest secret. This secret marks the beginning of your character's journey into the Cursed Lands in search of answers or redemption. Keep it vague for now.
Mhm.
Its full story will unfold gradually as the game plays, I should say. During gameplay. No, sorry, that's perfect, yeah. As the game proceeds, the GM may prompt you players to dive into memories, both strengths and weaknesses. Eventually, flashbacks will reveal more about the darkest secret, which can grant rewards such as fate and persona during related tests. So what that means is that when you go to do a test, you have a chance to decide that I want to have a flashback on this scenario. So your flashbacks could be a flashback of strength, or sorry, a memory of strength, sorry, or a memory of weakness. If it's a memory of strength, you have a higher chance of succeeding because what it does, it'll turn one of your failed dice into a 6. So that means you automatically pass. And 6s can also explode from fate, which we'll get to some other time.
Okay.
But you have to narrate to me a memory of strength from your past, and then we write that in the flashback tracker. Okay. You can also you're allowed to do 3 of those in a single act. And then the next one is weakness. So a weakness, you have a memory, but the memory is something of something that harms you or harms you mentally, or something that happened to you in the past that made you feel weak, useless, depressed, cowardice, something. That memory will allow you to lose a test on your terms. So after you tell me about your weakness memory, you get to choose if you get a condition from the task, or you can get a twist, and you get to tell me or give me an idea of what kind of twist comes from it. So it's almost like you lose on your own terms without me pushing you towards something. I know that doesn't make any sense right now, but just keep that in mind, that those are the things that you can do with memories. Once you have 3 strengths and 3 weaknesses, you have a full-on flashback. So what that means is that you will now go back into your darkest secret. You will unlock a piece of that story. You will face your fears. So you will literally go into that. You will take your existing body as it is, like your existing mental state. You will then go into your mind and then fight against the flashback in which started this whole path of redemption. So you will literally unlock the traumatic experience. You will face that traumatic experience, and you will try to overcome it. Just know that there are 4 more darkest secrets on top of that afterwards. You'll have 5 in total. So once depending upon if you fail or pass that, you will then proceed to write another darkest secret with that with your last secret in mind. So basically, where does the story progress from there? And you'll be writing your story until it comes to a conclusion of like what the ultimate sin was committed.
So it goes from a very vague statement to gradually being more revealing of your story.
Until your story is fully revealed. Yeah. And then you've overcome you either overcome your darkest secret, or you become succumb to your darkest secret. It's one of the 2 things will happen.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Okay. What I've put is, so I put what I have gained, what I have lost, the science.
Oh, okay. Okay, I like it. That's a good one, because it's vague enough to be like, what's that mean? And we're gonna uncover that as we go. But you as a player don't know what that comes to yet, and neither does your character, because they're still overcoming some kind of traumatic experience. So that's perfect.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put I should have stayed my hand.
Okay, perfect.
As in, I killed somebody I shouldn't have.
Okay.
Or maybe should have thought before it, or regret, or I don't know yet. You figure it out.
Well, you're going to figure it out because you're the one going to have your flashbacks eventually, and you're going to tell me. Because what happens
Oh,
is that your strengths and weaknesses, your flashback is going to be pulled from one of those. So you're going to end up telling me all about your character as the game goes, and I'm going to make you face one of your flashbacks, one of your memories, and then see what happens.
heck yeah.
Yep. The interesting thing about the Darkest Secret is that when you have these full-on flashbacks, like the full, you can take things from there. So you could take a certain skill that you learned from that flashback.
Mm-hmm.
You can literally take a manifestation of an item from that area, from that flashback. So a goal. So we're not going to do the goal right now, but I want to let you kind of like give a heads up so that when we do the goal, this is something that we'll go over it again.
Mm-hmm.
But generally speaking, a goal is going to end up being a statement of I will or I must or I won't. But it can't be something too broad, like one day I'll be king, or one day I will, or too easy. So like I will light a torch, right? I will eat some bread. Like those are not goals that are challenging. So it has to be challenging, but not something that could take an entire campaign to do, right? So just something that you can
Right.
do in a single 1 or 2 sessions that is at least a challenge to your character, something your character wants to do. It's not like I'm gonna wake up in the morning. Well, I mean that might be a challenge for some people for sure. So, but
Shut
it's
up! I'm sorry.
so next we're gonna do
Okay.
quirks. So a quirk is something that your character is something that your characters kind of makes them a bit unique, I guess, or tick, or whatever you want to call it. Um, a,
Mm-hmm.
a quirk can be chosen or you can roll. So up to you. If you can roll
Ooh.
it at random, or you can choose from the quirk list, and you can only do this for this level 1. Every other time, it'll either be given to you by me because a quirk is probably written already in the scenario, or you will when you return to town. If you have more than 5 stress when you return to town, you will also receive a quirk at random. If you don't have more than 5 stress, you're fine. You don't get one. But they are both good and
Okay.
bad things.
Ooh.
So, would you like to roll one at random, or would you like to choose from the list? The list is on page
It's 100.
699
Page
or
100.
100, page
Yeah.
100. Okay.
Yeah. 99. Yeah.
Is it 99 or 100? It's 100. Oh, 99 starts. Okay. Yeah. And if you don't know what it all means, well, uh, I can answer your questions for you.
I'm gonna roll the dice.
Okay.
Is what I think.
So I'm gonna get you to roll like a d6, just one
Or go
d6.
even.
So either odd you go on one list, evens on another. So roll a dice, flip a
Okay.
coin, whatever you want to do. 1d6 or 1d2. I don't know.
1d6.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you roll a 3. So that's an odd
Okay.
number. So now I'm gonna get you a roll of 1d20.
Okay. A 1d20.
Yeah.
Okay.
11.
Okay.
So you got Clotter.
I have Clotter.
Yeah. So you can just
Blood is
copy
thick
and
on this
paste that.
one.
Yeah.
Ooh. Forming clots when they're needed or not. Recover from injury without help. Where do I put this?
So you just you can copy that entire thing, the Clotter thing, and just copy it and paste it into one of your quirk slots that are on the second page.
Ah, right. There we go.
Sorry, what did you get? You got 9? So you got bulimic?
Bulimic. Food is never filling.
Taking the hungry thirsty condition does not remove your hopeful condition. Oh, that's kind of good. So when you leave town and you paid your bills, and don't have like bill collectors coming after you, and you also have no conditions, no negative conditions, you get hopeful. Hopeful goes away the moment you get your first condition, like your negative condition. So in your case, generally the first negative condition is hungry thirsty because that's one of the first things that happens is you get hungry thirsty because of the grind. So for you, you can get hungry thirsty and still be hopeful. because you're always hungry and thirsty.
Hey.
The only problem is, though, you cannot use rations to recover from hungry and thirsty. It means that you're only going to be drinking. So rations mean nothing to you. Eating food does nothing for you. You just throw it up.
Ooh.
Well, at least I don't have to eat the goo, so.
No, bring lots of water.
I'll bring lots of water. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, so you're bulimic and you're a clotter. Yeah. So the thing with clotter is that it makes recovering from injury easier because you're a fast healer, but recovering from sickness makes it harder because you're a clotter.
Oh.
So you could be getting blood clots and stuff.
So is bulimic a?
It's a quirk.
Is it good or bad?
They're all good and bad. Every one of them gives
Okay.
you a positive and a negative. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So in this game here, there's no negative quirks. There's no positive quirks. They're just positive and negative.
Okay.
Quirks can change, by the way. So there is a way to remove quirks through the sanatorium. Yeah, you can also remove quirks during a passage of time, which happens. There's certain things that trigger that, and as well as if you have 4 quirks already and you need another one, you can replace one of your quirks with a new quirk that you just got. So there are ways to change your quirks around. Almost done, which is pretty good because it's been a number of hours, right? Y'all sick of making your characters yet, or what? Yeah.
I love it, actually. It's fun.
So your starting level is 1. Your starting rewards is 1 fate and 1 persona. So put that in unspent.
And current total.
Yeah, current total.
Okay.
Is it current total? Let me see.
We get 1 each or 1 or?
1
you
each.
Begin with either a fate or a persona point, so use them wisely.
Yeah, 1 and 1. Yep.
Oh, 1 in either.
1 in both.
1 in both.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it says or there. Why is that? Should be and.
Yeah, that's what Silver was saying.
Yep, I fixed it. Hey, look at that. Beta testing. Wow, we never seen that. We've never seen that before. It's crazy. So the way that fate and persona work is a fate is something you use after you roll. So in this case, if you roll and you have some 6s, you can spend a fate and turn those 6s into explosive, meaning that those 6s now, for every 6 you have, you roll another dice and add another success. If that success is a 6, you roll another dice. And if that's a 6, you roll another dice and keep going until you stop rolling 6s and then count up the amount of successes you have. So that's what a fate does.
That's fun.
Yeah, it makes your 6s great. Persona allows you to do a couple things. Persona allows you just to add dice. You can just be like, I spent a persona to add a dice. You can do it up to 3 times. So you can add 3 dice to it. Or you can use persona to tap your nature. So basically add your current nature, so your tax nature, value onto your roll. This does damage your nature if it's not running, demanding, or boasting. But if you need those extra dice, it's probably worth the roll, right?
And how many? You use it how many times you have that amount of persona, right?
Yeah, except for the you can only tax your nature once per roll, but you can use persona to add 1 dice up to 3 times.
Okay.
So you can use all 3. If you have 4 persona, you can literally add 3 extra dice and tax your nature at the same time, or tap your nature. Sorry, not tax. Tap your nature, and then you could literally have a whole fuck ton of dice. Yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. Choose a name.
Ton of dice is my favorite amount.
Yeah. I will say, don't get used to winning rolls all the time. It's fun to fail. Trust me, I like it. Gives me something to do. If you pass all the time, I don't get to throw twists and fun things at you.
Ooh, okay.
So get an appropriate name. Appearance. Write 3 words that best describe your character. So just write 3 words that are descriptors for your character. They could be cold or fierce or I don't know, sharp-chinned or big-eared or whatever. Like whatever you want, you can just put in 3 descriptors, separate them with commas, and that's your looks. Just 3 things.
3 descriptors.
Yep,
Okay.
can be dramatic descriptors. That's kind of what you're going for. It could be like shaded or uh, meek or cowering or resolved. Just things that you can say when you say the word, you get a picture of your character in it.
I'm giving mine purple hair.
Purple hair, that works.
Oh.
It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly the exact appearance of your character, as in like you don't have to like write out like the exact description of your character. Uh, a lot of these appearances are kind of like how you perceive a character to be, and then the other players can kind of picture their own character, your character in their head using those words. So
Ooh.
yeah,
I did grizzled, piercing, and purple haired, so they're
that's
not
great.
all that explicit.
That's great. No, that's perfect. No, that's perfect. I like it. That's awesome. And what's yours?
So I went with proud, cold, and haggard.
So you can kind of get a picture of that. Yeah. Nice. So the age could be between 60 and 40. If you go higher than 40, that's fine too. Just know that a passage of time can make you older. So in this game, once you get to a certain part of the game, you will just chill out, hang out in the town, have a good time maybe, and let time advance. Generally, that's only 1 year, so your characters will probably advance 1 year at a time. However, if you get sucked into another dimension and you're lost in time and space, you could advance up to 6 years. So you could literally be stuck into another
Ooh.
As one
dimension.
does.
Yeah, you literally be stuck into another dimension for like 6 years before you find your way out. Which happened.
Time skip.
Yeah.
You come back.
Rugu's character went into another dimension called the Stranding, which was literally a world of flesh and hair and pus. And
Ooh.
they closed the gate, but they were on the other side of the gate when they closed it, and they were lost in time and space for 5 years before they found their way out.
Is that like time flows faster on the other side, and when they come back, they're aged?
Yeah, well, time is only is relevant, right? So that means that like in time and space, certain aspects of time move differently, right? So even though time on our world might work a certain way, but in other dimensions, it probably works an entirely different aspect, right? So
Ooh.
just because even though it might feel like 5 minutes to you, that might be 5 years to them because their universe or their world has a different concept of what time is. Yeah.
I'm going to settle on the age of 27, I think. That
Perfect.
gives me some wiggle room.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. And the thing is, you can't necessarily die of old age in this game, but you can retire, and then
I'll put my age as 630.
yeah. Well, there's a reason it's 16 to 40. It's what's written there, but yeah. But yeah. But either way,
I went 45, but I think I'm okay with if there's some like negative repercussions to being old.
there
That's
is none.
fine.
There is none. Old is just you. Don't worry. You're good.
I like the idea of having seen some shit and done some shit and
Heck yeah.
being at a point where like
Experienced.
career-wise maybe I would already be ready to retire, except for now I'm done with my career, so I'm going out into the world.
Yeah, there you go. And to be
Saving the world, yeah.
Yeah, saving the world. Like, you did some shit, so now it's time to get redemption, and that's okay. If you take a look at Darkest Dungeon, they have like the Men at Arms, and the Men at Arms is set to be somewhere along between 40 and 50, right? So so obviously those characters exist in the world. And there's no perceived like end of life when it comes to that, but you can kind of make up, be like, well, my character's 65, maybe they'll retire now, but that's up to the players, kind of, right? I'm not going to be pushing that, and they're probably never going to get to that point, maybe, unless you
Okay.
read a book of hastening history, and then you probably will, because the book of hastening history will literally give you knowledge that you should not know about, but it'll age you faster. But anyways, that's just
Oh.
that's just a book. Watch out for books in this game. It's just like Call of Cthulhu. Books can be dangerous. Other than that, you get the hopeful conditioning. You're done. But yeah. All right. Next time we will set up a date. I will try to. I don't know. I'll try to get people a heads up, I guess, before we actually do the next one.
Yeah. And then I can put it in a calendar, and that would be good.
Okay. As for everybody else, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Session 1 of Darkest Dum.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well,
Exciting.
we.
Woo.